I welcome you to our talk today on how to deal with two big demons of our times, anxiety and stress. Something that we all experience. You, me, all generations have experienced stress. There can be in fact no human being, whether it's across cultures, across globe, across historical periods, who can come and claim that I have not experienced anxiety and stress. Everyone has. It's a universal experience. But as we have been seeing that in recent times, a lot of people have been reporting that their levels of stress and anxieties have gone up. That's one thing. And second, they are also reporting that stress and anxiety are becoming very prolonged. That these experiences don't die out. In fact, people come and report that they have been stressed for many months, many years at times. They've been anxious for long periods. So that's why these issues have taken up a lot of importance in recent times. So let's first of all understand and talk about that what is stress. We all hear about, we all have read so much about. I think every day in either the main newspaper or the supplement that comes along with the newspaper, if you were to scan it every day, without fail, you will find the word stress in it somewhere or the other, right? So, any idea, what is your understanding of stress? What do you understand by stress? Or in your own personal life or in your own personal experience, when is it that you feel that, oh, I'm feeling so stressed out? Some pressure, so you are saying that some pressure. Now, can you think and elaborate on that?
Whenever there is some sort of work that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose I'm not feeling that much confident or I'm almost confident.
Mm-hmm.
Even then there is a pressure on me that to give my fullest, whether I will be able to deliver or not.
Right.
That pressure comes.
Okay.
And it becomes more, it becomes stress.
Very good. So as a friend has pointed out that whenever there's something very important, say you have to meet an important deadline or you have to do something, whenever there's an important external event where you have to rise up and do something more more than what you normally do, you feel a kind of pressure, and this pressure gives you an experience of stress, right? So, as our friend pointed out, stress is a reaction. See, stress is never out there. You may have an examination, you may be very ill, you may have experienced a breakup, you may be getting married. Yes, in fact, getting married, happy moments can also be very stressful for people, and there are many people who, when they are getting married, one day before marriage, they are so anxious, and I've seen people who come and tell me that, are we doing the right thing, or should we just postpone this marriage, or should we just opt out of it right now? So even good experiences can be stressful. So whenever there is any stimulus outside us or inside us also, which threatens to disturb our equilibrium, which is too demanding, which threatens to disturb our mental peace, that generates stress in us. So we have discussed the external things. Internal things can be that one fine day you get up and you are just feeling very low without any reason. That also can be stress. Nothing externally wrong has gone in your life, but you just get up and you feel that, oh, I'm feeling so low, I'm feeling so drained out, and it is like that. So that also can lead to stress. Now, this is very important. You would have seen this thing that people often, say, oh, come on. You are getting stressed because of such a minute thing. Come on. That is not something to be stressed by. And people will come and boast. You will have these grandfathers, grandmothers, uncles, aunts, and even some very, Salman Khan type of friends, who will come and say, come on, this is nothing to get stressed by. Why are you getting stressed? Are you a kid? Are you weak? are you insane? They'll tell you such things. But this is all very baseless, because different people can have different responses to the same stimulus. There can be some people that you fail in one exam and they may not be turned, at all by it, and they may say, all right, I failed, I'll try again once, I'm feeling a little bad, and that's okay. There may be someone who simply fails in a coaching class test, that you just gave a mock interview and the panel has told you that you have done very badly, and the person just is devastated, is blown into pieces. So it's not to say that no one can predict that that same stimulus will cause same reactions in everyone. It's going to be like this, that same stimulus causes different types of reactions in different people, and that's why our experience of stress really differs. What is stress for you is not stress for me, and what may be stress for me may be a very, very big stressor for someone. So that's how it is. Right. So, right, I mean, we'll be going on and discussing about stress, but from this second point, we need to, derive a very important conclusion for us and for people close to us. And I think we all should make that promise to ourselves today, that we will never judge anyone's stress or our own stress. So if someone comes and tells you that I am feeling stressed, acknowledge that. We are no one to say, oh, why are you feeling stressed by that? And if we are also feeling stressed, then we should feel empowered, that even if people are telling us, oh, you are talking rubbish, that's not stress. We should feel empowered to acknowledge to us and to the world also that, yes, I am feeling stressed. So what's the big deal? I'll try to deal with it. But yes, I have to acknowledge it. See, one very important mistake that we make with psychological issues and psychological problems is that we simply do not acknowledge them. We just assume that they don't exist, or we try to deny them, or we simply try to fight their existence. That's a very bad coping mechanism. It's like putting things under the carpet, putting all the dirt under the carpet and just believing that your house is perfectly clean. But what will happen is that over time, different kind of creatures and bacteria and all pathogens will build a colony in your carpet. That's what happens to us, that if we don't really acknowledge our issues, they really build and become worse. All right, so coming to what now happens, when we are feeling stressed out, will anyone like to share that, just try for a moment and recall your last experience when you were very stressed, and just try to share, that what all did you go through? What all happened? Ma'am, would you like to share your, thoughts on this with us?
Whenever I'm stressed, I feel somewhat restless at that moment.
Okay. So you feel restless, right? Anyone else feels anything different than restlessness? One experience is restlessness.
I feel in the stomach and
Something in your stomach.
uneasy.
Uneasiness in stomach.
Also in my breathing.
Breathing also. Very good. Right. So that's something that also happens. So what happens is, if we understand it biochemically, see, because stress is both a mind and a body experience. So it happens at the experiential level, at a mental level, but it also happens at the level of the body. Now I'll just give you an example. Suppose you were just walking, suppose you have gone on a trip to Jim Corbett, and you decide to do something very daring at night. You just creep out of your cottage and you just walk into the woods, and you bribe the security guard and say, just let me be, I just want to go and experience how it is at night. And you are walking and suddenly you hear a growl, you just hear a growl. You don't even see anything because it's way too dark over there, but you hear a growl. What will happen is, as our friend here said, you will feel something in your stomach, you will feel restless, and there would be this huge rush of energy in your body that I need to either run or I need to fight. Of course, fighting will not apply to the lion example, but in general, whenever we are stressed, we experience this energy, and there are a lot of hormones released in our body, and we experience this. We are very geared up to do something. To either fight or to run away. So that's what stress immediately creates in us, right? Now, the good thing is, see, because stress is also a very adaptive thing. It's not a dysfunctional thing. The good thing is that stress, some amount of stress, and stress for short durations is very exciting, and in fact it really motivates us to do better. Stress is exciting. Otherwise, whenever we take these interesting vacations where we sign up for all these adventure activities, whether it's paragliding or it's rafting or it's underwater swimming, and many people who even would not dare to get into a swimming pool, but they opt to go, into the sea, So, and they do this because they experience a certain rush of energy, they experience some kind of an excitement, and they also experience this very good thing because, if you take up something challenging and if you cope up with it well, you gain a lot of confidence, you feel proud, and especially in our Indian culture, you will hear people, who will be telling their children and grandchildren also that, oh, in the year 1955 I did this, that was something that I did, so all stress is not bad. It is like, it gives us a meaning to do things. It encourages us to, to challenge our own limitations and to win over them. So it keeps us active. Without stress, we'll be, very, very passive. We won't care. We'll be very relaxed. We'll just say, all right, let me go at my own pace. Let me do things as I want to, and, all will be fine. So stress in some way is a good thing. But now this but is very important, and this but is what is happening to 95% of population today, that we get stressed very, very intensely. I mean, the quantity of stress is just too big on our head. It's like this, that if you start exercising, you can easily lift a 3 kg dumbbell, but if on day one someone comes and gives you a 15 kg dumbbell, you've had it. You'll just have to go to a physiotherapist after the gym, and you will probably not dare to enter the gym for the next many days. So that's what is intense stress does to you. So intense stress is a huge reality for people, and intense stress for a prolonged period of time can be even worse. Say you enter the gym for the first day and you lift a 15 kg dumbbell, but you very quickly realize that, all right, no, I can't do it, and you keep the dumbbell down. But then you get a very sadistic gym trainer on your head who says, come on, pick it up and stand there for 15 minutes. It will help you to build strength. And you do that, so it is really a prolonged stress on your muscles, and it really wears out your body. So the problem that most of us are facing today is that we are experiencing this intense stress. There's a heavy load that we carry on our head, on our shoulders every day, and it is for prolonged duration. And competitive examinations, anyone who sits for a competitive examination, and especially an exam like IAS, which has no defined, I would say, route, you are typically carrying intense and prolonged stress with you throughout, because till the time you qualify with very flying colors, and you are very sure that, all right, I am not sitting for this examination again, you are really carrying this stress in you. Now there may be times when you may be more aware of this stress, or there may be times when you may not be so aware of this stress. But see, our mind there's a conscious part of our mind and there is a subconscious part of our mind, you know. So in your conscious mind, you may at times feel that I'm not stressed out, or, you know, it's not so important. But if there's anything huge happening in your life, that will always go or register as a stressor in your unconscious mind. So that's what happens these days, that people, you know, because of this intense stress, prolonged stress, and the stress that is there in your unconscious mind, people experience very, very weird type of symptoms. You know, so someone just come and say that I'm having a very severe body ache. You know, just offer all kind of medical tests and you find out everything is fine. You know, iron levels are good, B12 levels are good, thyroid is okay. You know, there's no infection, vitamin D is okay. So what? You know, so this is what really happens with, you know, prolonged and intense stress, you know. Now this is something a little bit from biology, just to understand that how stress, you know, damages us. You know, many times people ask, you know, stress is a mental experience, you know, why should it damage my body? If you tell people that you are having arthritis because of stress, or you are having depression because of stress, they simply ask you, but, you know, that's not, you know, why should it affect my body? Now you need to understand that mind and body are related, and there's a very systematic, you know, process through which this happens. So what happens is that when we are stressed out, our body, it releases certain inflammatory chemicals, you know, which are called cytokines. Because see, your body cannot understand that you are, you know, you are just getting stressed because of an exam. For body, stress means that there is some infection, or there's some alien body trying to disturb you. So body tries to create inflammation to attack that, pathogenic organism. But in mental stress, because there's no pathogenic organism, so the body ends up attacking its own self, you know, and this leads to, this has a very negative impact on our immune system, and it leads to various kinds of physical diseases, psychological problems, and autoimmune diseases. You know, it's as if that our body rises, gets up, and starts attacking its own self. Have you all noticed that how your physical health is when you are very stressed? How has been your physical health in times when you have been very stressed? Bad. Especially sleep. Yes. Anyone else?
Either loss of it or extreme gain of it.
Loss of it or extreme gain of it. Right. And therefore, the only option we have is to learn to cope with stress and to manage it. See, stress is a part of our life. It will never die out. It will always be there. What we need to do is we need to simply learn that how can we manage this stress effectively. That's our only solution to it. You know, there's no other solution. So we will come to this part a little later on, but because this talk is on both stress and anxiety, so I'll also take a few moments to explain you what is anxiety. So would anyone like to share their thoughts on what do you understand from anxiety? Prolonged fear. Very good. Restlessness. Yes. So again, something in our mind and something in our body. You know, anxiety has this part that it makes you, it gives you very negative, catastrophic, thoughts, and it also makes you restless.
It leads to wrong decision.
What?
Leads to wrong decision.
It leads to wrong decisions. Very important. Anxiety impairs your judgment, and you take all sorts of silly decisions while you are anxious. So as you all mentioned, these are the very common symptoms of anxiety: nervousness, exaggerated sense of fear. Say someone has an anxiety, that he or she will fail in an exam. Now, if you have prepared decently well, and if you are really equipped with, all the things, there may be a chance that your exam gets screwed up, but that chance is likely to be, quite small. But people have a very, very exaggerated sense. They come and they report that I can already see myself, that I'm sitting there and I'm going blank. I'm already seeing that I can't write, And generally, if you've seen that after the exams, people also report that what I had expected, itna kharab hua nahi tha. It went actually better than that. So what it means is that when we are anxious, we have an exaggerated sense of fear. We have, palpitations in our heart. So many people, report, and in fact, there are many people, who, when they are anxious, they actually also start fearing that, they are having a cardiac trouble. So if you are especially post 30, and if you are feeling anxious, you will also have another comorbid anxiety that, something wrong is also happening. Maybe with my heart, and they'll go for a medical thing also. Stabbing pain in the chest, that also happens when you are anxious. Shortness of breath, that we are normally never conscious of our breathing. We are sitting here, you are listening, I am talking, you are reflecting on, you are sharing your inputs. There's no one of us who's actually really very conscious of our breathing. But when there's anxiety, you actually feel that you are running out of breath. That's a very common experience for people, and certain tingling sensations in the body. That happens. And individuals who are suffering from anxiety, they have this constant doom that something bad is going to happen. You can sit and reason out with them for a long time, you can reassure them, but they'll still say, that something bad is going to happen. And they'll report to you, oh, I'm having this instinct, I'm having this intuition, something bad is going to happen to me. You are smiling, you have something to share over here? No. Have you ever felt like this?
Yes, actually.
Okay, so will you like to share your experience with us? When was it?
Recently, only when I shifted to Delhi, I felt
Be a little loud so that all people can hear
I
it.
shifted to Delhi recently.
Okay.
It's just been 20 days, so I'm very anxious that something is going to happen bad. I won't be able to cope with things. And
Yes, so that's anxiety, but I will also tell you that's also quite realistic. Even people like me who have been living in Delhi for, since birth, even I'm very anxious, of roaming around in Delhi. So your anxiety is not entirely unjustified. It has a reality element. I hope I didn't scare you. Yeah. Yeah.
You said that anxiety is a fear.
Yes.
Can we say that it also comes due to fear?
See, of course. What we need to understand is, see, the difference between fear and anxiety, and you asked a very good question, that is my next point, that anxiety is like fear. Anxiety can also be due to fear, but anxiety, anxiety is slightly different from fear, and we need to understand this difference, because see, it can also be that when we learn to manage our anxiety well, it may be that there's some real fear and we are simply telling us no, that's anxiety and I need not be scared. That approach will really land us into a huge trouble if we were to really do that, right? So it's very important that we distinguish anxiety from fear, right? See, the main difference between anxiety and fear is that fear is a rational response, that it is a logical response to a real danger. That if you are moving out, that hypothetical example, that if you are moving out in Jim Corbett Park after bribing the guard over there that please allow me to roam out in the jungle, and then if you are getting scared at night that someone will come and attack you, my friend, that is not anxiety. Don't even dare to treat it as an anxiety. You will be eaten up by someone. That is fear. That is a real danger, and that is your rational response to it. So fear is actually a very good thing. That you are on the 14th floor of a building, and your building is really shaking, here and there due to an earthquake. You cannot be telling yourself at that time that that's an anxiety. You need to really get under a table. That's the fear. That's a very, very logical response to a real thing. Anxiety is usually irrational and unrealistic. That it is too much means the thing is that even if there is an element of fear, the difference between fear and anxiety is that anxiety may have some element of fear, but in anxiety you magnify it beyond beyond things, yeah, and it is a very, very irrational and unrealistic response to it. Now say something like this. I'll take an example, since we'll also be focusing on examination stress, that if you have really studied hard for your examinations, right, and you have this anxiety that I will not be able to write something over there or I will go blank. Now that is an irrational, unrealistic fear. You don't have dementia, you are not 70 years old. How come will you get blank in the exam? You can't. If you think that for 3 hours I'll be blank, that's just an irrational fear. That's not real. It may be that you are very anxious and maybe you cannot attend to 1 or 2 questions very well, but slowly you will regain it, and if you try to focus and calm yourself down, you will be able to do it. So that's why it is like unrealistic. Another example of anxiety would be, and this was reported by someone whom I worked with, and I never paid attention to it, so I found it a very interesting example. So that person said that I have a very hard time sleeping, at night, and when I asked why, he said that I have this constant fear that the fan will fall down on me. So I asked that person, I said, are you living in a very old kind of building that has a 35 or a 40-year-old fan? He said, no, it is my new house and I just got it installed, 3 years ago, and so that is anxiety, because realistically speaking, fans don't fall like this. I mean, how many of us have seen a moving fan falling down in our lives, in front of our eyes? How many of us have seen that? No one. So that's anxiety. So that's the irrational element of it. So that's the difference between fear and anxiety. What you said is also very important, that at times, and this is the complication of anxiety, that at times people are not anxious because they fear that the fan will fall down on them, but they are anxious that when I go off to sleep, I will have the anxiety that the fan will fall down on me, and due to that anxiety, I'll not be able to sleep. So they have an anxiety of having fear, or they have an anxiety of having anxiety. So that's a very that's something that really complicates picture. That happens very commonly in interview situations also. People come and say that, look, I know, that I know things well and I'll be able to crack my interview really well, but I'm scared that I will experience anxiety in the interview, and then due to that anxiety, my interview will go really bad. So that's anxiety of anxiety. That's something that complicates the picture, right?
So can we say that is a choking?
That is a
Choking. Crucial point.
yeah.
Like a South African cricket team,
Yeah,
which wins the matches continuously and loses in the final.
right.
So they carry a pack of chokers.
Right.
Can we say that in this case?
That is again a different phenomena from this, but yeah. Could you just elaborate on your example?
Just you said no. The person has the ability to crack the interview, but he fears that he will not be able to crack because he will be anxious.
Right.
So can we say that is a choking?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. All right, I have some questions from our people who are viewing this online. I'll just read out those questions and we take them one. So the first question is by Kamal Dev Rai, and he says, मेरा daily routine गड़बड़ हो गया है. All right. So Kamal, we will be coming to your question when we cover the management part, and we will take it up. So please stay on with that. Okay. So there are a few people who are also asking me to speak in Hindi. So is everyone fine if I also मैं हिंदी में थोड़ी बात करूं अगर बीच में? ठीक है. Okay. Right. And then someone called the Santa. Okay. I am experiencing heavy-headedness, head muscles not relaxed, and at times shortness of breath. What can I do? So I'll again say we have just come to techniques of anxiety and stress management, and so please hear them out. Two techniques will be very important for you. Stay tuned. We will be discussing about breathing techniques, and we'll be also discussing about how can you stop catastrophizing. That will really help you in anxiety. So please just as they say on TV, please stay tuned in, to the talk. Right. So I'll like to ask you all, before I share, the standard psychological techniques, and it's not, see, with techniques of anxiety management, I'm giving you the standard techniques, but it's not like this, that this is the law of God, that these are, somewhere given to you. It is also about that what works best for people. So I like to ask you all, and I would want you all to respond that what has really worked very well for you whenever you have been anxious or stressed, Would you like to share?
Breathing, I guess.
Breathing.
Yes. Try to stay calm and controlling myself.
बिल्कुल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज सी एंग्जाइटी में क्या होता है कि जो हमारी ब्रीदिंग है आपने देखा होगा कि जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे कि एक आपको you experience a lot of tightness in your chest and your breathing becomes very shallow. लोग अक्सर ये कहते हैं कि मुझे ठीक से सांस नहीं आती. So एक एंग्जाइटी दूर करने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका है कि अगर आप किसी तरह से अपनी ब्रीदिंग को काम कर लो, then you will experience a relief in anxiety. Yes. Anyone else would like to share what? Posture is very important. Right. Very good. Drinking cold water also helps. Right. So see, as our friend here said, पोस्चर की भी बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है बिकॉज एंग्जाइटी से क्या होता है, अगर आपने कभी नोट किया हो, आप अगर बहुत एंग्शियस और स्ट्रेस्ड होते हैं उसके बाद आपको बॉडी में कहीं कहीं पेन स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. पीपल टिपिकली ये जो नेक पेन या शोल्डर पेन, लो बैक पेन, जिन लोगों को बैक की प्रॉब्लम नहीं भी होती है, साइकिल नहीं भी होता, दे में ऑल्सो से कि यहाँ पे मुझे पेन होने लग गया है या कहीं और पेन हो रहा है. एंड क्योंकि एंग्जाइटी से जैसे हमने जिन चीज़ों की बात की थी कि कुछ इन्फ्लेमेटरी मैकेनिज्म्स हमारी बॉडी में शुरू हो जाते हैं. सो दिस लीड्स टू a tension in our body, a kind of pain in our body, and an inflammatory response. So if we do something at the level of our body, which is like exercising or simply correcting our posture, at times if you can just stretch your body, very well, if you can do 10 to 15 minutes of stretching exercises when you are feeling very anxious, you feel really better. राइट. कोई और अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहेगा? डांसिंग, वेरी गुड. सो दैट इज सो सी, डांसिंग इज अगेन अ वेरी गुड थिंग बिकॉज डांसिंग एक क्रिएटिव एक्टिविटी भी है. तो आप कुछ भी क्रिएटिव करते हो तो यू फील वेरी गुड एंड यू फील वेरी जॉयफुल. प्लस इट रिलीजेज अ लॉट ऑफ एनर्जी फ्रॉम द बॉडी, एंड इट enhances your blood flow. So one way of getting rid of an inflammatory response in your body is that if you just increase your blood flow for some point of time at the site where inflammation is, you feel better. Writing helps. True. Writing से क्या होता है that you become more aware of your thoughts, and feelings, and you can look at them objectively. So that also helps.
We can say subject should be changed.
What?
Subject should be changed. What we are doing, feeling is this. That should be changed. Go to next.
True. Taking a break, trying to distract ourselves, है ना? So that's why it's very important कि जब भी कुछ बहुत बड़ा होने वाला है लाइफ में, तो you keep your life balanced. If I always advise students who have their exams that one day prior to your exam, at least one day prior to your exam, and the day of your exam, keep yourself really light. I never tell people, I say it's a very bad habit to carry your notes. You would have seen, this is a typical, any Indian college from Jammu Kashmir to Puducherry to Kanyakumari. Any Indian college, you go walk in on the day of the exam and people are like this. अच्छा, तूने ये पढ़ लिया? नहीं पढ़ा? अच्छा, ये भी पढ़ना था? And उस वक्त निकाल के, or they are simply calling up their teacher. Ma'am, sir, ये क्वेश्चन आएगा तो क्या होगा, इसका ये तो नहीं पढ़ा kind of thing. So this is like unnecessarily that this theme of anxiety is already running in your mind, and you are adding more and more fuel to it. You are simply encouraging it that that the fire should be even bigger and bigger and bigger. You should in fact do something to just calm down that fire. So your point is very valid that we need to somehow change our mental set. We need to take a break. That's very important.
Can anxiety be positive as well in certain circumstances?
Yes, I mean as we covered, see, stress can be positive, anxiety cannot be positive, because anxiety, as we discussed, is an unrealistic response. It is a mountain out of a molehill. So it is better to see the molehill than the mountain. As simple as that. Stress, yes, stress is very adaptive. कि अगर आपको stress हो रहा है, आप उसको ठीक तरह से manage करो and आप prevent करो कि वो बहुत prolonged ना हो, that it just stays for some duration of time and it gets over, then that can be very adaptive. As I said, that can really encourage and empower you to challenge your limitations and to be the winner. So
Because it basically fosters competition and the feeling of
True,
anticipation for a debate.
true.
So I think it can have its positive side as well.
Very true, yeah. So has everyone exhausted their favorite coping techniques, or या अभी भी कुछ लोग हैं? Chanting, anything spiritual or meditation also helps.
Even watching the tensions in the muscles, for example, I generally get tense in my neck muscles.
Okay,
So when I watch them, then I relax them,
right.
and then
Right. So you are actually using a very good coping technique. You are actually becoming aware of your, body, and you are becoming aware of the tension, and then you are giving yourself an instruction to relax. So that's what you are doing. Please.
maybe a morning walk or an evening walk.
Very good. Yes, it is a wonderful thing, and morning walks are very important also from a psychological and a biological point of view also, because, and ma'am, especially for you, because you've just come to Delhi, so you need some fresh air. We all have been living in pollution, so we are more or less adapted to it, but you must go for morning walk every morning, because what happens is that the morning is the only time when you have that fresh air, so the plants are also throwing out oxygen, and because during the night there have been very few vehicles causing pollution, so it is relatively better, so morning walk is a very good option, to just re-energize and revitalize yourself. That can happen.
You can also discuss by sharing your fear to friends, parents.
Talking to someone, right? But talking to someone who understands, अगर आप जैसे किसी ऐसे के पास पहुंच जाओ जो कहे ये कोई एंजाइटी की बात थोड़ी ना है, क्यों एंशियस हो रहे हो?
That is a self-motivation.
Self-motivation. Yeah. Okay. So let's come to some more techniques. So what you have already mentioned, these are the techniques, and I'll be adding on to them. At some points there will be some repetitions also. what I'll also be focusing on, see, because these techniques you all already know, that how to distract yourself, how to just relax your body, deep breathing, some meditation, these things we all are somewhat aware of, and we all have been using them formally or informally in our lives, right? But I think what we also struggle with is that how to change that mindset, which is the root of anxiety. That anxiety comes due to certain thought patterns in our mind. How to really get hold of them and take them, that's very important. Yes, so that is there. See, when we are confronted with stress, we have these three broad options. First, that you can change something externally. That if you are very stressed by a job, and if you really think that that's a real bad, space, you can simply move away from the job. If you are thinking that you are in a very dysfunctional relationship, very painful relationship, please don't apply, stress management techniques over there. Simply leave the relationship. That's a better option. But I'm saying if is very important. It's not like कि छोटी सी fight हुई और आपने कहा कि ठीक है, I am breaking up and breaking apart. That will cause you a lot of emotional pain later on. But if you really feel that the other person is like a wall, does not understand you, does not care for you, you cannot reach through the other person, there's no need to meditate, deep breathe, use stress management. You will do a lot good to your own self by simply saying goodbye, forever. That's see, again I'll say, see, this is now somewhere an Indian mindset, and please, I'm not encouraging people to take divorce or to separate legally or to separate informally. But yes, if two people, despite many attempts, they cannot make harmony between them, and they cannot make a basic harmony that that gives them देखो, एक तो रिलेशनशिप में बड़ी इल्यूजनल बात होती है कि एक तो हम सब सोचते हैं लाइफ पार्टनर ऐसा होना चाहिए, मैरिज ऐसी होनी चाहिए, रिलेशनशिप ऐसा चलना चाहिए, वो तो खैर किसी को नहीं मिलता, तो तो उसकी तो चाहत करना बहुत बड़ी बेवकूफ़ी है. तो वन थिंग इज बी रियलिस्टिक कि वो तो नहीं मिलेगा. अच्छा चलो वो छोड़ दिया, बट अगर उसके बाद भी आपको ये लग रहा है कि ये तो एवरी डे इज अ स्टोरी ऑफ पेन, and despite both attempts from both the sides, nothing is happening, it simply means that you both are very different, and कि कहानी नहीं चलेगी या कहानी जिंदगी भर इसी तरह चलेगी. Then it makes a lot of sense, without being bitter, to just say goodbye on a healthy note, so that you can do something better with your life. कि लाइफ में देखो और इतने सारे स्ट्रेस होते हैं कि ये कोई ज़रूरी स्ट्रेस साथ लेके थोड़ी ना चलना है कि मतलब रोज़ एक दो फाइट्स और एक दो इमोशनल आउटबर्स्ट और मेलोड्रामा इसमें पार्ट भी लेना है, ये देखने भी हैं और अपना you have to bang your head in the wall, you have to scream, or you have to say I won't have my food today, or you have to abuse someone. Why do all this? Just be better, just say okay, fine, it's important to just leave and be happy. So that's so in some very selected cases. Now I'm not saying that you use this as a routine, but in some very selected cases, this is the only and the good option, that you just let go of something if it is very stressful. Now see, I'll also share one thing with you, because I've also worked with some students again who are preparing for competitive exams, and they have given many attempts, and they come and they say I am very depressed and I am very angry that I have not been able to do in my anything in my life for 5 years or for 6 years. I've been just doing this. Now in that case, at times, I'm not saying that this should be the routine. In that case, it may be actually a good option to try something else, to really not limit your life around something, because see, there needs to be an end to, a story. You cannot just go on and on and on if it is paining you. Now I also have seen people who have given 5 attempts, they've not cleared, but they are very happy and they are very confident and they are very sure that they want to do this. They may do this and they may do this very happily. But अगर आप खुद ही कह रहे हो कि भाई मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा अब डिप्रेशन होने लग गया है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन होने लग गई है, या मुझे ये चीज़ ही ठीक नहीं लग रही जो मैं कर रहा हूँ, then it makes sense to really re-evaluate your priority. That's what it is. सेकंड, अब ज़्यादा बात हम इस पे करेंगे. जो पॉइंट 1 था वो तो बिल्कुल सीधा और साफ था, उसमें कुछ और कहने का नहीं था, तो आई रियली फिनिश्ड इट. बट जो सेकंड पॉइंट है उस पे हम बहुत ज़्यादा बात करेंगे. चेंजिंग द वे वी रिस्पॉन्ड टू एंड वी डील विद स्ट्रेस, यू नो, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. या एंड द थर्ड कुछ नहीं है, it is the combination of 1 and 2, that at times you need to change a little bit things externally, but you also need to kind of bring an internal transformation, you know. To give you an example, like someone may say that I am you know, अब ये life partner वाला example लेते हैं. Someone may say that I love my you know, partner and I am happy with her, but at times you have huge fights and then my mood goes really bad and it is, you know, like this. So in that case we may do both the things. We may say that how can that person try and make a better relationship with the partner so that the number of fights goes down and the number of conflicts goes down, but how that person can also deal with the inner pain and frustration whenever there is a fight, so that that person does not feel dysfunctional. You know, are you able to follow what I am saying? You know, so we do both the things, that we work something externally and we work something internally also, right? Okay, so this is very important, you know, and interestingly we never think of this in anxiety and stress management, but it is the number one thing, that set your goals carefully. If your goals are realistic, you know, if your goals are sensible, if you have a good self-understanding that yes, you can achieve it, believe me, 70% of your stress will just evaporate. तो गोल ऐसा होना चाहिए. अब गोल वो छोटे बच्चे वाला नहीं होनी चाहिए कि यू नो, आई वॉच्ड रामायण एंड आई सॉ दैट हनुमान जी वाज फ्लाइंग, you know, so I also want to fly. No, now a 2-3-year-old kid can have such a goal, but if we as adults, we begin to have such goals, then we are just inviting stress, that please come and sit here, you know, and sit here forever. That is what we are doing. So goal setting is the number one thing. If your goals are in order, 70% anxiety, 70% stress is history. It is really history. So let's look at it very carefully. This is a question that I wonder about, and when I work with people, you know, who have issues, I also ask them, and I'm also putting it in front of you, that have you ever wondered that why are we trapped into this very common phenomena that achievements bring only temporary happiness? You know? कि हम कुछ अचीव करने का सोचते हैं, हम कोशिश करते हैं, वो हमें मिल जाता है, लेकिन we feel good for 4 days, 2 weeks, 1 month, and then we, you know, we come back to, I mean that we reach a high and then we just come back to the low, you know. That happens with most of us, you know. Any idea why does this happen?
Because we want to achieve more.
Very important. Because we want to achieve more. You know, simple thing is because we want to achieve more. So whatever we achieve, you know, I typically tell people it's this, that you are holding a sieve in your hand. You know, now if you are holding a bowl, so whatever you achieve, you collect into it. But we all hold a sieve, so we put into it, and it simply goes down from it into the ground. That we want to achieve more. Now that's not wrong. To achieve more is not wrong, right? But we need to be really asking ourselves many questions. Why we need to achieve more? What exactly do we need to achieve? And why is this achievement important for me? That's very important, you know, and we all screw up in this. You know, we all screw up big time in this. Most common example, till few years ago, you know, there were not luxury cars in India. There were not so many luxury cars in India. People were very happy to, you know, like buy जो भी उस टाइम की cars होती थी, सियालो होती थी, और कौन सी होती थी? Hyundai Accent was there. मारुति की कौन सी होती थी? esteem है ना. I'm just talking of few years ago, not 1980s. So people were happy and content, and no one was thinking about luxury cars. Now almost everyone wants a luxury car, and people think that once they have a luxury car they will be happy and their life will change, you know. बट इस बात को बैठ के आप लोग सोचें कि अगर आप में से भी कोई लग्जरी कार खरीदना चाहता हो, कि क्यों, कि वो मुझे हैप्पीनेस की नहीं. सी दिस इज नॉट अ सिंपल येस और नो आंसर. दिस रिक्वायर्स डीप रिफ्लेक्शन that why should a luxury car, or why will a luxury car give me happiness? It's or rank one, why will it give me happiness? You know, it is, see, बहुत important बात है. We take all these things for granted, you know. We take, और हम granted क्यों लेते हैं? Because it's like this, we are a herd of sheep that one person buys a luxury car and we all like this follow, all right, luxury car. फिर अब कोई घूम के आया एंटार्क्टिका. आज तक कोई एंटार्क्टिका गया नहीं था, सुना कहीं पे एंटार्क्टिका. नेक्स्ट ट्रिप, या जब भी उतने पैसे इकट्ठे हो जाएंगे तो एंटार्क्टिका. भैया, you may not like cold weather, as simple as that. You may not like, you know, ice. Antarctica may be very good for someone who's very fond of ice, who's very fond of cold weather, who's very fond of you know, very little habitation. But you may not be fond. You may love the sea. You may really love you know, or you may like a different kind of culture. So it is very important, you know, it is very important to understand, you know, why this, you know. I in fact tell many people, you know, जो कई बार प्री मैरिटल काउंसलिंग के लिए आते हैं, जो तो मैं ये ज़रूर पूछता हूँ, and you know, why do you wish to get married? Because we all take it for granted in India that marriage is a part of it. But you need to find an answer to this question within you. I'm not saying that don't marry or marry, but I'm just saying, ask yourself this question: why is this so important for me? You know, you should get, once you get a very conviction wala answer from inside, then things are easy. You know, if you don't get a conviction wala answer from inside, then it means there's something wrong. You need to really then do more self-reflection and think what you really want. You know, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
First of all, I think the reason why we get bored of things is because we confuse pleasure with happiness.
Right.
Most of the time.
Right.
I think small pleasures and gratification, you know, you think that it will be happiness. Whereas there is quality in the difference.
Very true.
The other is that it's mostly the fear of what might happen in a scenario. Like,
True,
for example, yes, considering that the fact that why is it important for me to get married, the other thing that is there is the fear of not getting married. Now, these two are different emotions. Rationally speaking, I would like to question it, but then emotionally speaking, I might be, you know, get a little fear, which would probably dictate,
Right.
and it will make me more stressed.
True.
So how do you weigh this?
I think very significant question. See, you are very right that we all have a rational mind and we all have an emotional mind, and they think very differently. But the real task of self-growth is to join them together, is to again and again try to talk to your emotional mind and encourage it to think rationally. That's the key. So, मतलब आप कोई भी चीज़ लाइफ में करो, बट ये सोच के बहुत ध्यान से करो भाई क्यों कर रहे हो, नो, क्यों कर रहे हो उस चीज़ को, वो जवाब आपके पास होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड सी, इफ इट रियली कम्स फ्रॉम अ डीप कन्विक्शन, then you know, you will be surprised at the level of your motivation. It will really make you a winner. You know, why we struggle with things is because we are not convinced about it that much. हमने अब किसी से सुना कि you know, जैसे मैं वो you know कि I see 4 people doing something, you know, say a lot of people are these days doing, what is that new form of, very interesting form of an interesting name, Pilates. Is it called Pilates or pilates? No, some people call it Pilates, some people call it pilates. Now I may see banners ki jagah jagah ho rahi hai, you know, this new form of exercise, I may just become very this, that this is fashion. That now, how people were going for taekwondo, some years back. Now people are going for this thing. But I need to really see that, is that form of exercise really something that I gel with? I may do better with just, age-old morning walk. I may be more happy by that, as he was saying. So that's very important to do this kind of a self-reflection. And why is this self-reflection important? This is a very deep philosophy to understand, because देखिए कि all of us are born with a true self and a unique potential. हम सब एक दूसरे से बहुत डिफरेंट हैं. हम सब में कुछ ऐसी बात है जो दूसरे इंसान में नहीं है. वी ऑल आर वेरी डिफरेंट. अगर आप किसी भी पर्सन के साथ टाइम स्पेंड करोगे, उसको स्टडी करोगे, अगर आप जैसे मतलब मान लो हाइपोथेटिकली स्पीकिंग, अगर आप किसी की भी बायोग्राफी लिखने बैठते हो, आपको उसकी लाइफ में इतने इंटरेस्टिंग पहलू दिखेंगे, उसके माइंड में इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग कैपेसिटीज दिखेंगी. Everyone is very different, right? So, and everyone has a unique potential. Not everyone is cut out for one thing. We all are cut out for very different things. So, if we realize this, and if we simply hear our inner voice, if we stand up for that, and it is very difficult to stand up for that, because as you were very rightly saying, कि ये जो ज़माने का डर होता है, ये हमें डरा देता है. कि जो ये एक जो सोसाइटी का फियर होता है कि ऐसा नहीं होगा तो ये क्या होगा. आई हैव अ वेरी लाइव एग्जांपल ओवर हियर. वन ऑफ माय क्लाइंट्स हु वाज कमिंग फॉर काउंसलिंग, उसने अपनी फैमिली को कहा कि आई फील कि एग्ज़ाम्स देना और कोई भी कोर्स करना सबसे बड़ी बेवकूफ़ी होती है. वाई आई डोंट नीड टू गेट अ लेबल. उसकी फैमिली ने उसको बहुत ये कहा कि नहीं तुम्हारा तो थॉट प्रोसेस ही बहुत ख़राब है, और साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास ले, काउंसलिंग कराओ, भाई पढ़ाई तो करनी है, डिग्रीज तो लेनी है, ये सब तो करना है. शी वॉज वेरी adamant, and I also, as a psychologist, I felt that that she has a deep conviction that she will be able to do something in life, and so let us trust that. And I in fact encourage the family that please give her some time and let's trust her conviction. If not, then something else. And she is running a beautiful business today, and she is a person in her own right today. So ये बात बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ये जो रूल्स हैं, कन्वेंशंस हैं, डर हैं, और हम उन्हीं डरों के दायरे में रह के अपनी ज़िंदगी को सोचते हैं, वो हमें बांध देते हैं. इट्स लाइक दिस कि अब अगर हमारा जो कि अगर हमारा अब जो ग्राउंड ही इतना है, हमारी स्पेस ही इतनी है घूमने की या चीज़ें करने की, तो जो इतनी स्पेस में चीज़ें हो सकती हैं वो तो हम कभी कर ही नहीं पाएंगे. वी आर वेरी लिमिटेड बाय व्हाट वी आर काइंड ऑफ डूइंग. सो दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट to really have conviction in your inner voice and to hear it, and then take an informed call on what you want to do. And as we have seen that this is a very sad part, that our inner voice gets suppressed due to heavy conditioning of the world. कि right from childhood हमें बताया जाता है ये सही है, ये गलत है, इसको करके ज़िंदगी अच्छी हो जाएगी. बहुत सारे लोग आपने देखा होगा करियर को लेके बहुत स्ट्रगल करते हैं. दे आर टोल्ड कि ये कोई करियर होता है, ये कोई चीज़ होती है करने की, ये बनो, ये करो, ये अच्छी चीज़ है. तो उसमें बहुत सारा चीज़ें या बहुत छोटे से एग्जाम्पल में भी इनर वॉइस होती है. दैट यू हैव योर ओन मैकेनिज्म ऑफ स्टडिंग. से दैट यू सिंपली कैन रिमेंबर थिंग्स वेरी वेल बाय सिंपली रीडिंग. और आपने किसी टॉपर का इंटरव्यू पढ़ लिया या सुन लिया कहीं पे, या किसी इंस्टीट्यूट ने किसी टॉपर को बुलाया कि भाई अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करो, और उस टॉपर ने कहा कि नहीं जी, पढ़ाई अच्छी होती है कि लिख लिख के पढ़ो. इट मे बी अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग दैट यू कैन रजिस्टर थिंग्स बेटर बाय सिंपल विजुअल स्किल दैन बाय विजुअल मोटर स्किल. हो सकता है कि आपकी जो विजुअल मोटर स्किल है वो इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, आपकी सिंपली जो विजुअल स्किल है वो बहुत अच्छी है. बट इफ़ यू ब्लाइंडली फॉलो दैट, इफ़ यू से भाई टॉपर स्टडीड लाइक दिस, आई शुड ऑल्सो स्टडी लाइक दिस, देन वॉट यू सिंपली डू इज यू वेस्ट योर टाइम. you waste your time and you don't do what you are capable of doing. So ये conditioning को समझना and breaking free from this conditioning is very important. I'm not saying that you need to be a rebel and you need to say no, no, no to everything, but you need to be well informed. You need to do something about this conditioning. अच्छा, और ये जो catch ये होता है कि why does conditioning stay on? Why does it stay on in our mind? Because if we follow what is socially accepted, we get love and recognition. Otherwise, we get a lot of criticism and rejection. So it is very important for that people around you, your parents, your friends, your partners, that you also explain them your stand and tell them that, look, I really want to do it, please you support me in it, don't be so rigid. That's what you need to kind of tell them. नहीं तो होगा ये कि आप अपने रास्ते and you will be getting all these negative pulls from all directions. So if we follow conditioning, what happens is that we start doing what the world expects from us and we simply leave our inner calling, and this inner calling ko chhodna is the root cause of all mess, because then क्या होता है कि जब आप inner calling को छोड़ के कोई भी काम करते हो, you are already conflicted in your head, you are already suffering from anger, stress, depression, anxiety, because you are not logically doing what you wish to do, and then you start getting very, very disturbed. So think about this question, that who are you, what do you want? Let this question trouble you, let it shake you up, let it make you uncertain about your identity. हमारी जो identity है वो हमें खुद बनानी है. It should not be given by someone. So you need to make your identity fresh, and once you do that, many of these stress and anxiety will simply go, because you'll be very clear that I want to do this, and you will really put your heart and soul into it, and you will simply go ahead very swiftly with it. Right. So coming to the second skill, which is related to it, one-pointed attention. Now this is something that is not, psychology talks about it, but our ancient texts, Mahabharata, if you remember Arjun and that fish and that arrow, so it is also written out there. It is also written in a very ancient text, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is like a very comprehensive thing on, human psychology. So one-pointed attention is very important, which is hard to find today. कैसे hard to find है कि आजकल तो multitasking को बहुत idealize किया जाता है. That if you cannot do at least 3 things at a time, people will tell you are a loser, you are a jerk. You can't even do 3 things at a time. So the thing is, आजकल तो ये होता है कि अच्छा यहाँ बुक भी रखी है, पढ़ रहे हैं, कान में म्यूजिक चल रहा है, म्यूजिक सुन रहे हैं, लैपटॉप पे भी कुछ देख रहे हैं, और अगर गर्लफ्रेंड का मैसेज व्हाट्सएप पे आ गया तो वो तो जवाब तो देना ही. This is about multitasking. The thing is that your attention gets fragmented. See, you understand things, you achieve things, you do anything, that you are simply, the fuel of every activity is your attention. If you put your one-pointed attention into anything, it will blossom. कभी आप सिंपली इस चीज़ को करके देखना कि आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी आप बिल्कुल अटेंशन ना डाल के और बिल्कुल अटेंशन डाल के करना, एंड सी द डिफरेंस. You'll see a lot of difference. That how beautiful it can make things. Right. So as I was saying, that once you set your goals through inner reflection, you need one-pointed attention to achieve those goals. Because attention is the basic. It is a very basic. I'm talking, you are listening, you are looking at me, I'm looking at you, that's attention. It's a very basic thing. But it is the most significant thing. If you don't pay attention to what I'm saying, you will not know what this talk was about. You know, if I don't pay attention to you, I will not know how you are responding to this talk, you know, and I will not be able to do a decent job over here. You know? Because when you all are looking at me, I have some sense that you are finding some value and some meaning in what you are saying. If most of you were really, you know, fiddling with your phone, that would have been a signal for me that, boss, please do something else. You know, this is not appropriate. So attention helps us in registering the problem, understanding it, making a plan, and also working through it. So it is a very, very important capacity. To solve any problem, big or small, attention needs to flow into that direction. If you are, simple example होता है कि एक नीडल में थ्रेड भी डालना है, तो जब तक अटेंशन से नहीं डालोगे वो नहीं डलेगा, बिल्कुल नहीं डलेगा. उसको आप मल्टीटास्किंग करके डालते हुए देख लो, बिल्कुल नहीं डलेगा. तो जब इतनी छोटी सी चीज़ में नहीं डलता, what gives us this stupid confidence कि बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ों में मल्टीटास्किंग करके काम चल जाएगा? बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा. इतनी जब छोटी सी चीज़ों में नहीं चलता तो बड़ी चीज़ों में कैसे चलेगा? So attention is very important. Now, why this has happened is that because now this I think is the most, I think, silly misconception that is going around in the last 1 decade. People have this excuse, they say कि जी हमारे ऊपर workload बहुत ज़्यादा है, time is less, we need to multitask, you know. So the issue with this is attention goes haywire. You can simply take my words and do this experiment कि अगर आपको आज 4 चीज़ें करनी है, don't do all of them together. आपको किसी से फ़ोन पे बात करनी है, सिर्फ फ़ोन पे बात करो. आपको बुक पढ़नी है, सिर्फ बुक पढ़ो. आपको अगर वॉक पे जाना है, सिर्फ वॉक करो, तब फ़ोन पे बात मत करो. यू नो, डोंट सी कि अच्छा ये यू नो मैं अपना टाइम आई सेव ऑन माई टाइम, आई वॉक एंड आई रीड यू नो साथ साथ. नो, उससे क्या होगा? एक तो आपको बहुत सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलेगी इन वॉट एवर यू डू. You will be able to do things well, and you will be able to do things very, very sharply, you know, because your attention will be there. So that's very important. In fact, कभी इस बात को करके देखना. I mean, very small example. You know, so should I say all of us or most of us take bath in the morning? All of us take bath in the morning, है ना? ऐसा नहीं बोलते कि most of us. किसी को भी नहीं लगना चाहिए that we are pointing at finger. आपने ज़रूर देखा होगा कि while we are taking baths, our mind is thinking in all the directions. Try this simple experiment from tomorrow and tell yourself that when I am taking a bath, I'll just focus on taking bath. You will see this thing rapidly that आपका जो time है of taking baths, that will be simply half. You know, so whatever time you take right now, it will simply be the half of that time. Means that when we do things with attention, we save time. We save time and we do things really well. You know, that also happens. आजकल ये मल्टीटास्किंग से ये कितनी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है ना कि I had to say if I had to do 10 things in a day, after day I'm really struggling to remember. अच्छा मैंने वो कर दिया था क्या? Did I write a mail to that person? नहीं मैं ना let me open my laptop or let me open my phone and check again. Why is this happening? We are not suffering from dementia. You know, we all are sane over here. It is happening because we multitask and we don't put 100% attention into what we are doing. So that is also creating a lot of stress. You know, simple things. People don't remember what they need to do in the day. They keep these, you know, lists and messages pasted everywhere. आज ये सब करना है. अगर आपकी attention आपके हाथ में होगी, ऐसा कभी नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Your mind is a huge storehouse to register and remember all that information very simply. So that all is very important.
That as we are preparing for this exam and we have to read n number of subjects that
Good.
our background is a specific like science.
Right.
We have to read quality,
Right.
geography,
Right.
history. And this happens that we are not attending because we may find it not interesting.
Right.
And our attention may get diverted.
Right.
So what should we do to maintain that attention or to maintain that concentration?
Okay.
If
Okay.
it is of not our interest
Okay.
or not our...
So see, what you can do in such a regard that you are reading a subject, it's a very common thing. हम सबके साथ हुआ है that we are reading one subject and that's not interesting to us. It happens. It is a very universal thing. The trick to do that is that एक तो सबसे important that one pointed attention. So when you are reading it, you are reading it. You know, with boring things, it becomes even more important to have all your attention over there. Okay. But the second thing that you need to do over here is that, say, if you don't have if you are not from geography background but you have to read geography, so read it with 100% attention, study it, but take frequent breaks. You could even do this thing, you just study it for 20 minutes, then take a break, study something else, but then again after an hour come back to it. So here you are not multitasking. The time you are giving to it is that amount of time. Third thing that you can do is try changing your style of studying. Say if you are reading something and you find it very boring, what you can also do is you can try something different with it. What you can try is that you can try to put I'm just giving you one example. I'm not saying you follow this thing because ऐसी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो सकती हैं. You can also come up with something like this, that I'll read one paragraph and then I'll write it in my own language, in 2 lines. So उससे क्या हो रहा है that again you are engaging with it. So if something is very boring, find different ways of engaging with it. Don't follow your standard technique into it. That will really help you to kind of take care of it, right? And frequent breaks is of course very important, because don't expect कि अगर आपको कोई चीज़ boring लग रही है, have your expectations also low. That's another important thing that you can do. So don't imagine that you will be studying it very happily for 3, 4, 5 hours at a stretch. You can't. You can't. So always do it that kind of day, and plan it in advance. So if you know that one subject is boring, just say, all right, so from now on I'm going to devote this much time to it every day, because I know that I cannot devote one chunk of a time to it, right? Again, I have some online queries. Okay, I have a lot of online queries. Oh, okay. Just a second. Let me just go through them. Okay, so someone has sent a very motivating message for us. I'll read that out. This is Ashish Kaushik. He writes, mental tension is an illusion of the mind, a stupid trickery, and by the time you understand all the nonsense, it becomes too late. So very motivating and very thoughtful. Thanks, Ashish. Okay, and then Kamal Dev is asking, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, and I'm a student of 12th standard from UP board, but पढ़ते समय concentrate नहीं कर पाता हूँ, and right. तो Kamal, as we discussed over here, you need to first of all find a reason कि आप पढ़ते हुए concentrate क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. अब आपको ये चीज़ें देखनी है कि क्या हमेशा से ऐसा था या अभी ऐसा होने लगा है. अगर अभी ऐसा होने लगा है तो इसके 2 पॉसिबल कारण हो सकते हैं जो मेरे दिमाग में इस वक्त आ रहे हैं. एक ये हो सकता है कि या तो आप बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस में हैं. अगर ऐसा है तो आप अपने स्ट्रेस की तरफ ध्यान दीजिए कि उसको कैसे कम कर सकते हैं. या दूसरा ये हो सकता है कि जो आप पहले पढ़ रहे थे और जो आप अब पढ़ रहे हैं उसका कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी लेवल आपके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा है. तो अगर कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी लेवल बहुत ज़्यादा है तो मैंने जैसे अभी मैंने शेयर किया था कि आप कुछ नए तरीके ढूंढिए उस चीज़ को अप्रोच करने के. ये बहुत उसमें इम्पॉर्टेंट है. लेट मी जस्ट टेक 1 or 2 more queries. So Ashish is writing further, leave the illusion of a comfort zone that awaits you somewhere at some point of time. This will increase inner strength. Also exercise helps. Yes, it does help. Ashish is also talking about meditation. Kamal is saying कि poems सुनना and songs सुनना, meditation is also good in anxiety. Yes, it is good. Okay, so one important question. This is asked by someone from Pilani or called Pilani. I don't know what it exactly is. That dear Pulkit sir, whatever I read in a day, it is getting in my sleep, and I am not getting peaceful sleep. How to avoid this? Okay, so what you can do, और ये चीज़ हम लोगों के साथ कई बार होती है, that what we read it comes back. So see, one thing that you can do is that before sleep, take some break. So never do like this, that you are studying and then you just hit the bed. What you can try and doing is, you could take a small walk before the sleep, or you can listen to some soft music, or you can also read a very different kind of book not related to your course. So what will that do is, that will help you to disengage your mind from it. And then when you are falling off to sleep, also give yourself this auto suggestion, this instruction, that now it is time to sleep, and I will try my best to not think about all these things, and I'll get up tomorrow and then think about all these things. And the third thing is that try to lessen your anxiety, because when we get things in sleep, it simply means that we are getting very anxious. Okay, one more question. If I don't know the answer in exam, and this is asked by Kanan, if I don't know the answer in exam, sudden sweating and uneasiness forms, please tell me how to rectify. So see, this is again something very common, and you need to remind yourself at that moment, and this I have told to many students, कि आपको अगर एक आंसर नहीं आता, that's not an implication on who you are. So simply tell yourself at that point of time, it's okay, it's human to not know an answer, and life does not end at just one single answer. Just tell yourself that, and then tell yourself to relax, and observe your breath, that if your breath is uneasy, make your breath easy and things will be fine. Okay, so we'll take more questions then further on than this. I'll come back to this. Right, so as I discussed, that once the attention flows into the right direction, it will ensure that the problem is solved. एक ये बात भी बहुत important है, which was also related to the question that we had, that most of us, we waste a lot of our time, our present time, in dissecting the past baggage or imagining the ideal future. या तो हम ये सोच रहे होते हैं कि पहले क्या हुआ था, या हम ये सोचते हैं कि आगे क्या होना होगा, हम उसकी फैंटेसीज में गुम होते रहते हैं, and that also takes away a lot of our important attention. We need to be grounded in here and now. That's very important. So each time your mind flies away, you need to tell yourself, come back. और कमल, as you were asking कि आप अपना रूटीन कैसे ठीक कर सकते हो, वो आप अटेंशन से भी ठीक कर सकते हो, बिकॉज अगर आपका रूटीन ठीक नहीं हो रहा है तो इट मीन्स योर अटेंशन इज गोइंग हेवायर. आप अपने आप को बार बार ये इंस्ट्रक्शन दो दैट लेट मी बी प्रेजेंट विद जो मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ और जो मैं करना चाहता हूँ, और बहुत सारी यहाँ वहाँ की चीज़ों से मतलब सी नो वन ऑफ अस कैन कंट्रोल कि हमारा माइंड कहीं और जा रहा है. दैट वी कैन नॉट कंट्रोल कि इफ़ अ माइंड इज़ वरिंग और if a mind is just obsessing about something, वो हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते हैं. What is our under control is that once we realize it, we tell our mind to come back. It again goes there, we again tell it to come back, and over time with this practice, your attention will improve. Right. Third thing, boost your self-confidence. And I think Vivek also has asked a question, that how to deal with fear of failure when you have faced failure more than 3 attempts. So Vivek, this may answer some of your important question, that we also need to deal with stress, to deal with anxiety, to deal with fear of failure. We need to boost our self-confidence. That's very important. and how do we do it? Anyone will like to share that how can we boost our self-confidence? या आप कैसे करते हो normally? अपने आप को buck-up कैसे करते हो? You talk to yourself.
I just count my strengths.
You count your strengths. That's very important. You know, we are going to talk about that. Counting your strengths.
Recalling I have done something good.
Recalling that you've done something good. Very important.
Believe
Right.
in your abilities.
Believe in your abilities. Right. One main reason for anxiety and stress is, see, people often get stressed out not because of anxiety or stress, but because they don't trust in their resilience. You know, जैसे कि अगर आपके 2 या 3 फेलियर हो गए, you lose trust that you will be able to crack it. So you need to rebuild that trust. People, they don't trust themselves, they have low confidence, and they feel that they will not be able to handle things. They either shy away from making an attempt, or even minor setbacks devastate them. And we have often seen that people give up easily. So once you have low confidence, you know, it is a very sad story. आप चीज़ें बहुत जल्दी छोड़ दोगे, आप you know, आप अच्छी तरह attempt ही नहीं दे पाओगे, or you will just shy away from giving it your best. They also keep on telling themselves, see, if you hear yourself and if you pay attention to your mind, तो जो भी you know, whenever our self-confidence is low, there is a negative talk going on in our head constantly. We hear these things like, I am no good, I will not be able to do anything. And it is this basic message which is self-defeating. If we were to simply change this method, if we were to just change this self-talk and turn it to a positive talk by saying that, no, I may have experienced a failure, but I am good and I have done so many good things in the past and I have these many strengths, I will be able to do it. Maybe I have had 3 failures, but that's okay, that's not the end of it all. You know, so it's very important to take these negative self-defeating messages out of your system, because they are the ones that build negative energy in your system. This is also important, that what is the root of low self-confidence? And if you see, low confidence ka source bhi wahi hai, those people who give us confidence, paradoxically, you know. So what happens is, if you have seen very small children, they are very happy, very energetic, very confident about who they are and what they wish to do. They will tell you, you try to tell them ki ye nahi karna, they'll come and in face and ask you, kyun nahi karna, I want to do it, and you tell them, ye nahi hoga tumse, kyun nahi hoga, I'll be able to do it. They are very confident. So this is natural, we are born with confidence. You are born with confidence, everyone is born with confidence. But what happens is that as we grow up, people around us, to motivate us, they expose us to criticism. So we start hearing these little messages, you are stupid, you are no good, you are a loser. और जब स्कूल में पहुंच जाते हैं तो मतलब अच्छी तरह बरसात हो जाती है क्रिटिसिज्म की वहाँ से. तो so you homework नहीं किया, you are worthless, you will fail in life. So what is happening is that over a period of time, our mind absorbs all this. So if you experience a lot of criticism, you become very self-critical of your own self, and this spoils your confidence. This is the key. When someone tells us repeatedly that we are wrong, bad, unworthy, we internalize this criticism. This criticism becomes a part of who we are. We start believing in it and we generalize it with our whole self. That's what it does to us. This damages our self-esteem and confidence, and we cannot have healthy self-esteem until we discover and break free from these generalizations. तो हमारा जो self-confidence बढ़ाने में संघर्ष है वो अपने आप से, वो अपनी negative self-talk से है, हमें उसको change करना है. So as you already, our friends over here already, referred to it. So to break free from it, we need to make a list of our strengths and positives and keep referring to it whenever we feel low. This may sound very childish, but it's very effective. If you have a list in hand, that what have been your achievements or what are your strengths, anytime you feel low and you read through that list, you will feel better. Mark my words. So do that. बट क्या होता है कि जब कुछ लो फेज होता है तब हम अपने आप को और लो ले जाते हैं, हम अच्छा सोचना ही नहीं चाहते तब, And whenever we hear this voice, external voice also, internal voice also, telling us, that you are bad, don't take it in like that. Just tell yourself that I may have difficulty with one thing, but my total self is good. That's a very important message, and I am worthy and strong at the core. See, someone criticizes you, that simply means that, that you may have, one problem somewhere or three problems or 10 problems also, but that doesn't mean that you are zero. No one is zero. You need to remind yourself of that. What happens is when someone tells us that, you have a problem, we feel like a Humpty Dumpty. Next, it is very important to deal with negative emotions. Related to boosting our self-confidence, it's very important to deal with our negative emotions also. Okay, so one question from Gypsy Parrot. Good afternoon. How to be childlike, happy, energetic, excited during the day and not be lazy? So as we discussed, just think about, just try to hear and change your negative self-talk and you will feel so positive, so good, you will feel once again like a child. The difference between us and the child is that we have a lot of negative self-talk and the child has a lot of positive self-talk. If you can change this thing, you will feel a lot better about it. Good. Yeah. So, dealing with negative emotions, how can we deal with them? Now, again, negative emotions, whatever they are a reality, they are a part of who we are, and they are not a problem. No negative emotion is a problem. If you fail, you will feel sad. If you have a breakup, you will feel sad. If someone fights with you, you will feel angry. If someone insults you, you will feel ashamed. These are very normal emotions. There's nothing wrong in all these. These are very logical, sensible things there, It's like this, ki, jaise if you get hurt in your body, you bleed. So whenever there's something that happens at the level of your mind, there is an emotion. Emotion per se are not wrong. But what is issue is if we are unable to deal with our negative emotions. That's what the problem or the issue is. What happens is that there are some people and with whom this happens that they really get washed away in negative emotion. And you would have seen this very common example, breakup. Someone undergoes a breakup and itna depression hota hai ki kuch nahi aur yaad hota, No? I was thinking someone will share experience over here. Okay. So
This things gives way until there is a hope.
right.
You don't want to leave that track.
Right. So, but what happens is, see, what is problematic is that you allow yourself to really drown in that emotion and not care about anything else. So you have identified with that depression in your mind completely, and आपने अपने self को उसके आसपास weave कर लिया पूरा. That, oh, I have had a breakup, it is very sad, and let me just, hug depression. That, oh, come and stay here, and be here with me, kind of thing. So the thing is that if you don't allow that, if you simply tell yourself that yes, negative emotion is here, I'm feeling sad, but I don't have to go and embrace it. मतलब मुझे और ये सब नहीं करना कि मैं songs भी sad सुनूं बैठ के, मैं लोगों से भी ना मिलूं, मैं अपने बारे में भी नेगेटिव सोचूं, मैं पूरी दुनिया के भी बारे में नेगेटिव सोचूं. सी मतलब ब्रेकअप और जो उससे रिलेटेड पेन है, दैट्स नॉट इन योर कंट्रोल, बट देयर आर सम थिंग्स इन योर कंट्रोल. बट होता क्या है, दैट वी सिंपली, एज आई एम सेइंग, दैट वी हग द नेगेटिव इमोशन एंड वी से ओके, स्टे हियर, स्टे विद मी, एंड यू नो वी विल बी टुगेदर. दैट्स अ वेरी बैड वे ऑफ इट. दूसरे कई लोग क्या होते हैं, दैट हु सिंपली थ्रो नेगेटिविटी आउट वेरी फोर्सफुली, दैट समवन हर्ट्स देम and they throw things around. That's also a very bad way of coping with negative emotion, because you are unnecessarily creating more anger and stress in your own self. There is also a class of people, and this is the problem with negative emotions, who are very scared of negative emotions. Oh my god, I am feeling depressed. Oh my god, I am feeling anxious. Now, if you were to simply just stop and tell yourself, all right, it is an emotion, it will pass, you will see a marked, dropping down its intensity. If you go with this idea, I should never experience anxiety. Anxiety is very intolerable. Now, when you have made anxiety intolerable for you, it is going to really bother you left, right, and center. If you simply tell yourself, anxiety is an emotion, I will tolerate it. You see how magically it will just go. So don't fall into this category that I am scared of my feelings. You should never be scared of your feelings. Why? These are your feelings. They are not someone else's feelings. Yeah.
For a second class,
Hmm.
I would like to add, are there our Indian politicians following that? Because any amount of healthy criticism, they don't take.
True.
And it actually harms the country.
True. That happens.
So what level of psychological emotions they carry?
Very controversial question. but yes, but if you see that, I think there can be a very constructive way of doing politics. So you don't need to scream in the parliament, and then you don't need to be thrown out of the parliament, and then you don't need to take off your clothes and sit in protest. This is all very, very kiddish and infantile. So
That used to happen in times of Nehru.
yeah. So I hope that they also feel empowered to change themselves. Right.
Because if they feel vulnerable, I think they resort to violence
Right.
or murders.
Right.
So what type of psychological level they carry?
Yeah, so I would say that their emotional coping skills are,
Then we can take
not up to
gangsters and criminals also.
True. Okay, so the main problem is that the society perceives negative emotions as a sign of weakness, immorality, or disease, and this is the main problem. This creates problems with negative emotions. If we were to carry the sense, okay, theek hai, it is normal, it will come and be over after a while, it will be over. So how to deal with them? See, the first step is to openly experience and observe the emotion, but prevent any kind of action. So simply tell yourself, I am experiencing depression, I am not depression. Once you do that, once you observe your emotion from a distance and you acknowledge it, you will start getting back yourself. Witness all the feelings and associated thoughts that come up in your mind. Do not act on your feelings, and try to describe your feelings in words. Try to write them down, and try to remind yourself again and again, look, I am experiencing it, I am not the feeling. Once you do that, its intensity will really come down.
What would you advise to those people who are quoting that being emotional is their weakness?
You should just tell such people to shut up. Yeah. And you can also tell them, see, आपको कोई कहे ना कि you are being weak in being sad. So don't cower down and look that person into eyes and say, why am I being weak? It's a normal human emotion. I think you are wrong in telling me that I am weak if I am sad. If you talk with that kind of confidence, their own logic will get shaken up. बात भी होती है ना that we see many of the criticisms that we get, and that's again very important point for working on self-confidence. We just take them unconditionally. We don't think about them. Have you ever thought why should feeling sad be a weakness?
Not feeling sad only, emotional.
Huh.
It's
Have you ever thought why feeling emotional is a weakness? Why should it be weakness?
because if in case if someone is not able to handle it, then it becomes a weakness.
So see, then the goal that you can make for that is that all right, I'll learn to manage my emotions better, but my emotions are not a weakness. And tell that person also like that all right, you are saying that I may do something else with my anger, that's okay, I'll try better, but my anger is not problematic. There's no problem with my anger.
Just one more question. You're saying that we shouldn't identify with our negative emotions as this is what I want. But what happens is that when we identify ourselves with our positive emotions completely, I'm feeling happy, inside, and I completely internalize it. So how do I demarcate it? I mean, you are used to being identified in emotional state. You are being either happy or elated or then how do you make
See,
a sudden difference and say that
even with even with positive emotions,
yeah.
it will be good if you can stop yourself from completely identifying with the emotion, because that's the reason why people experience huge waves of highs and lows.
Exactly, the emotional volatility.
अगर आप मतलब, और इसमें ये नहीं है, इसमें ऐसा नहीं है कि आपकी लाइफ ड्राई हो जाएगी या इट विल बिकम जूसलेस. इट विल नॉट बी लाइक दिस, it will simply be that you will experience the emotion, but you will not be a slave to the emotion. So with happiness also, you can simply say that all right, today, this thing happened, I got my result and I've done really well and I'm feeling on cloud nine, but yes, I am experiencing happiness, and so you can do this thing over there also, and I think that you should do it, because then जो एक emotional stability की बात होती है, that's very important to create in us. Then ये होगा that through your highs and lows of life you will be a united front. नहीं तो अभी क्या होता है, you are on cloud nine, then you are into a deep bottom pit, then you are again onto a cloud nine, and it is a very destabilizing and jarring experience for your mind. So as I said, drop various judgments and tell yourself it is perfectly human to feel hurt, angry and miserable. उसमें कोई problem नहीं है, अपने आप को ये remind कराइए. And as you internalize this stance, you will feel light and liberated. Yes. Being realistic is very important in whatever we are trying to do. Say now, if you did not study for your exam throughout the year and it is just last 1 week, and अगर आप उसमें आपने किसी मेरे जैसे मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर या साइकोलॉजिस्ट को सुन लिया जिसने कहा कि aim high, think big, you will achieve big, and the last 1 week you are studying and you are thinking very big, all right, I'll study and I'll crack with flying colors. तो आपको जितनी स्लीपलेस नाइट्स होंगी और जितनी एंजाइटी होगी और जितना स्ट्रेस होगा, दैट विल बी दैट कैन नॉट बी डिस्क्राइब्ड इन वर्ड्स. या जब आप फेल हो जाओगे उस एग्ज़ाम में, तो आपको जितनी पेन होगी और जितने डीप डिप्रेशन में आप जाओगे, इट विल बी वेरी हार्ड टू हैंडल इट. सो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट एम बिग, बट बी रियलिस्टिक. So have a good understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, and then when you take up a goal, you tell yourself that all right, this is this goal, this is the amount of effort I'll have to put in, and I'll have to, be very systematic, make a plan. You don't have to talk in air. So that's the very important thing that we constantly, especially Indians, major problem with Indians and Southeast Asian cultures, they are very good at illusions, making illusions, and dreaming about illusions and chasing them. Now there's nothing wrong in that also, but have a dose of reality in that. You cannot be, as I said, that you can't watch Jai Veer Hanuman on TV and dream that you'll also fly like Hanuman. You could maybe, you could maybe come up with this aim that I'll try to be fearless as best as I can in my own life. That's something still achievable, but you cannot, make illusion as your goal.
I would like to guide me because I have one problem that on the day of exam, generally what I have that I have no fear, I don't read anything, and I am confident enough. Whether it is an objective or subjective exam, but the problem while I am writing for the exam, my problem is even if it is a 3-hour exam, I complete it in 1.5 hour or 2 hours. Never take more than this.
Okay.
And second thing, I have like this, whatever I am writing is the only best answer that I am writing, and I complete the paper, always complete the paper, and I more than I get wrong marks than I as compared to right marks.
So you are saying that the style with which you function, that gives you less marks. I mean, that's not a good style. See, so what you can simply do is that one thing is that you can just give yourself this instruction right when you are sitting for the exam, that all right, relax, and then you can time yourself, try to time yourself for every few questions, like say if you have I'm just giving a hypothetical example. If you have 10 questions and if you have 3 hours, so organize it like that all right, one question should be getting these many minutes, so I will think about my answer carefully, and then I will mark it carefully, or I'll write it carefully, and I'll do it like that, and so if you do that kind of thing, then you'll be able to handle it better. Okay. See, one important issue about these illusions and fantasies is that if we run after fantasies, no matter how much we achieve, we always feel frustrated and dissatisfied. That also happens, and that's why it's important to be realistic in your goals. This also happens a lot in couple relationships. People at times have an internal fantasy. मेरा पार्टनर ऐसा हो, मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड ऐसी हो, मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड ऐसा हो, एंड फिर जो भी मिलता है लगता है नहीं, ये भी नहीं वैसा, ये भी नहीं वैसी, ये भी नहीं ऐसा, ये भी नहीं ऐसी, and there's a lot of, and then the person reaches a psychologist clinic and say, oh, I am so bad, मेरा आज तक कोई रिलेशन ही नहीं बना, या बना तो चला नहीं. It's very important to do this kind of groundwork your own self, that what is it that you are expecting and going after. So we need to set realistic goals in life. Realistic goal is the key. Setting a realistic goal increases its likelihood of being achieved manifold, and it gives you a lot of happiness. So as you were saying, if geography is not such a good subject for you, then a realistic goal cannot be that you will study geography for 2.5 hours at a stretch and you will study it really well. No, realistic goal can be that you will try to study for it just for 20 minutes or half an hour, then you will take a break, then you will come back to it. So उसमें क्या होगा ना, you will feel happy also. Each time you study it for half an hour, you feel very happy. Oh, I studied geography, I remember something out of it. And if you make an unrealistic goal, I need to study it 3 hours and I need to study it really well, that will never happen. So each time, even if you have studied geography for 1 hour, you will be very frustrated that I did not study geography. That's why this goal setting and this realism in goal is very important. So जो चीज़ें आपको illusions और fantasies लगते हैं, it is very important to remind yourself that they are unachievable and therefore there is no point in running after them. If you love Salman Khan, by chance, okay, that is an unachievable goal. Don't run after it, because so many people have been after it and they have ended up with a broken heart or a different marriage than that. So you stand no chance in it. Just remember such things.
Setting the realistic goals, should we keep our past performance in
Of course.
perspective, or we should think about what we can achieve in future? Now these are two different things. Based upon my past, I might come up with a different scenario where I might have failed a couple of times, I might have been successful a couple of times. Or should I think about it and motivate myself that okay, I did certain things
See, what I mean in terms of realism is that when you are setting your goals, of course, if you have failed at something, you can set that as your goal, that all right, this time I will try my best to achieve it. Okay. But what I'm saying is, when you are working towards that goal, like be realistic about what you can do, what you can normally do, and how you have normally been in your life. See, when I'm talking about realistic goals, I'm talking about these, this process through which you achieve a goal. Because आपने एक goal तो set कर लिया था, I need to achieve this. But उसके पीछे सारा process है that आप उस goal की तरफ work कैसे करोगे. How will you study, for instance? Now that is to be based on how you normally study. Like say, if you normally study for 6 hours a day, you can keep it as a goal कि मैं, I am going to now study 9 hours a day, for example. But you also need to tell yourself realistically that, look, I'm so used to studying 6 hours a day, and I know that more than 6 hours it becomes really tough for me. So it may take me some time to reach that, and I'll try my best and I'll see how I can reach that. So that will give you, that will increase the possibility of the goal getting achieved. But if you just say no, from today 9 hours, yeah, so that this understanding of how you do, who you are, is very important in this thing. अब जैसे स्पोर्ट्स का एग्जांपल, अब आपने वैसे तो कभी हाई जंप की नहीं है, और आपने सोच लिया जी कि मैं तो इस कंपटीशन में फर्स्ट, तो ये तो गोल, ठीक है, आपने गोल रख लिया, गोल कोई गलत गोल भी नहीं, इट्स अ गुड गोल, बट देन यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि अच्छा, आई हैव नेवर परफॉर्म्ड हाई जंप्स, so maybe I need a lot of practice. B, I need to maybe start at a very less height and then slowly increase my height. That's how you do it, But if you, what the problem with us is, we are very emotional. We are very emotional. Just say like a Bollywood film. I have chosen this goal. अब तो वो मंदिर की घंटियां बजेंगी, भगवान मेरे साथ होंगे, गोल अचीव हो जाएगा, ये होगा, कोई चमत्कार होगा, सी, तो चमत्कार भी होते हैं, उसमें भी काम तो आपको ही करना पड़ता है, एंड दैट काम is to be done in a process, in a step-by-step manner. So always remember the staircase. That if you are going somewhere, it is a ladder, it is a staircase. You cannot hop like this. If you try to hop, it is more like snakes and ladders. Where you hop and then you also come down. So that's how it is. Yeah. So, and it is also very important to be aware about your limits, right? And when you are especially, studying for exams, you need to remember there are limited hours in a day, and you can only do justice to a certain number of tasks, And so you need to manage your time and choose those tasks in a lot of priority. I normally tell people to have a detailed plan for your studies. As detailed as possible, number of days, topics to be covered, time for each topic, it should be as systematic as that. Then you will see that you will really move in a very swift direction because it's very systematic. होता क्या है हमारे साथ, अच्छा नहीं 2 months है कर लेंगे, या 1 week भी है कर लेंगे, सारी रिवीजन कर लेंगे, भाई कैसे करोगे? How? So you need to have a good plan in place. So planning is always very, this making a mental map is very important. As I was saying that in order to achieve something, hard work is required. Always remember that, and there are no magical shortcuts. So this is not a Bollywood film, and no one is coming. No dog, no elephant, no God is coming to help you out to do it. You will have to do it on your own self, right? And अच्छा, गोल सेटिंग के साथ एक बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है जो आजकल के हमारे कल्चर में, दैट इज द बिगेस्ट ट्रेजेडी दैट्स हैपनिंग. सी, बीइंग अ गो गेटर इज वेरी गुड, बट लिमिटेड टू 1 or maybe 2 spheres of your life. You don't need to be a go getter every day, but what is happening is these days is people are creating stress for themselves. So I'm a go getter when I'm studying. I'm also a go getter when I am going for running. आई एम सीइंग टाइम, इतने टाइम में हाउ मेनी राउंड्स हैव आई टेकन. If you don't intend to run a marathon, just throw away your watch, keep it in your home and just run, enjoy your run. You know, who tells you to be a go-getter? You know, yeah, when you are driving on the road also, if you have to reach somewhere, all right, overtake cars. If you are not in a hurry to reach somewhere, don't just look at this. Oh, you know, ये मेरे आगे से गाड़ी कितनी तेज चला के लेके गया, ओ तेरे की, चलो पैर दो रेस पे, चलो आगे. दिस इज अननेसेसरी स्ट्रेस. बहुत सारे ऐसे स्ट्रेस हैं जो हम अवॉइड कर सकते हैं. या यू नो, आई टुडे वेंट टू अ डिनर, यू नो, एंड आई सॉ कि मेरे कज़न ने बहुत ज़्यादा अचीव कर लिया एकदम से, और मुझे भी एंग्जाइटी होगी कि मुझे भी 2 महीने में कुछ ना कुछ करना है. क्यों भाई, उसने कर लिया अचीव, तुम क्यों स्ट्रेस ले रहे हो उस चीज़ का? अपने हिसाब से चलो. तुम एज लॉन्ग एज तुमने अपना गोल रखा हुआ है, प्लान रखा हुआ है, अपने प्लान पे काम कर रहे हो, तो यू नो, be content. You know, don't unnecessarily accelerate your pace by seeing the pace of the world. That is a very, उसमें क्या होता है that you will lose your balance. And very importantly, do not turn every activity into a performance. You know, so जो rewards or appreciation, they are not always necessary for you. लॉट ऑफ पीपल व्हेन दे आर जॉगिंग इन द पार्क, अब उनके माइंड पे ये तो नहीं होता कि हम जॉग करें, हम रन को एंजॉय करें. दे आर मोर कंसर्न्ड अबाउट, अच्छा पार्क में इतने सारे लोग हैं तो भाई मैं ऐसे दौड़ूं कि लोग देखें कि यू नो क्या रनिंग की स्पीड है. क्यों? तुम्हें अपने जो वर्क प्लेस है वहाँ पे अप्रिसिएशन मिल रही है, अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, या तुम्हारी फैमिली बोल रही है ना वेरी गुड. वाई आर यू सो हंग्री दैट यू नीड अप्रिसिएशन फ्रॉम ईच एंड एवरी प्लेस इन लाइफ? You don't need that, frankly. So it's very important to just do certain things at your own pace and with fun. That's very important. And someone had asked me, Apurv had asked me that any last day tips, so Apurv, last day tips mein this is very important, that do some activities just for the sake of fun, and keep yourself very, very relaxed. Don't study. My last day tip for people is don't study till the last moment. That is my biggest last day tip that I normally give to people, कि आराम से जब आपका लास्ट दिन है अपना आराम से टाइम पे डिनर करो एंड देन ट्राई टू स्लीप. नई नींद आती है तो अब अपने माइंड को कुछ अच्छा म्यूजिक सुनो, कोई और बुक पढ़ो. डोंट रीड अबाउट योर सिलेबस. जस्ट गिव योर माइंड दैट काइंड ऑफ टाइम टू जस्ट assimilate what you've read. That is very important. And our last tip also. So exams are not from another planet. They are not from Mars. They are not from Jupiter. They are not from Pluto. They are not from some alien world. They are very much a part of life, and treat them as a part of life. एक ये भी बात होती है that whenever we treat something as an aberration, as something as extraordinary, जब भी हम किसी चीज़ को अपने माइंड में extraordinary बनाते हैं, वो एक हमारे लिए एक फैंटम बन जाती है. That becomes a phantom for us. So don't make exams a phantom for you. Just tell them that it is a part of life. I have given so many exams. Preparatory school से main school में गए तो एग्ज़ाम दिया होगा, मेन स्कूल की हर एक क्लास में एग्ज़ाम दिया होगा, बोर्ड्स आए थे तो एग्ज़ाम दिया था, फिर 12th का फिर एग्ज़ाम दिया था, एंट्रेंस उसके बाद क्रैक किया होगा, फिर एग्ज़ाम दिया होगा, उसको क्वालिफाई करने के लिए हर साल एग्ज़ाम दिया होगा. So it is a part of life. Don't make it a hawa in your mind. And what very important is, this is very important. ये हम लोग खुद भी करते हैं. People around us encourage us to do it. That exam time is different from normal time. And आजकल की डेट में कई लोगों का एग्जाम टाइम प्रोलॉन्ग होता रहता है. वो 6 महीने 1 साल तक एग्जाम टाइम ही चलता रहता है. एंड पीपल ऑल्सो टेल यू वेरी प्राउडली, एंड पीपल ऑल्सो एडवोकेट वेरी प्राउडली कि IAS का एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हो ना, अब तो एक कमरे में बंद हो जाओ, किताबें रख लो, और मतलब जब दूध वाला आए, जब कोई खाना लेके आए, या जब कोई किराया मांगने आए, तब दरवाज़ा खोलना, नहीं तो आंसर ही मत करना. टिप नंबर 2, सबसे बढ़िया टिप, अगर अभी तक गर्लफ्रेंड या बॉयफ्रेंड नहीं था तो IAS एग्ज़ाम के दौरान तो बनाना ही मत. टिप नंबर 3, अगर झगड़े हो रहे हैं रिलेशनशिप में और IAS का एग्ज़ाम भी देना है तो रिलेशनशिप छोड़ दो, तो पढ़ाई में डिफ़िकल्टी होगी. तो ऐसे बहुत सारी टिप्स होती हैं. दिस इज़ अ वेरी साइकोलॉजिकल थिंग. अगर आप किसी चीज़ को बहुत एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरीली ट्रीट करोगे कि भाई ये तो कोई बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है, तो वो आपके माइंड में इट विल स्टैंड लाइक अ डीमन. That's what happens to exams, because we treat them as not a part of normal life. We treat them as, like, from an alien world. So no wonder when we are giving exams or about to give exams, हमें सारे वो डर लगते हैं जो हमें एलियन से लगें, अगर एलियंस एक्चुअली हों तो, है ना. So that is very important, that during exam time also, yes, you can devote more time to studies, no harm in that, but do not change your life 360 degrees. So who you are, be that person. Don't become don't become someone else, right? Don't do this, that I will not talk to my friends, I will not pursue my hobbies, I will not go out, I will not laze around. So do all those things. You can adjust time, you can see how you manage your time, but don't do that. So one main reason for exam stress is, this is now very logical reason which we have never thought, कि एग्जाम्स के वक्त हम अपने आप को खुद ही कन्फाइन कर लेते हैं, एंड देन वी फील वेरी सफोकेटेड, कन्फाइंड एंड स्ट्रेस्ड. सो हु हैज़ कन्फाइंड? वी हैव ओनली कन्फाइंड आवरसेल्व्स. आप जितना एक रूम में बैठ जाओगे, सोचोगे ये भी नहीं करना, ये टीवी शो भी नहीं देखना, ये वाली फिल्म रिलीज़ हुई है ये भी सिनेमा हॉल पे नहीं देखने जाएंगे, डीवीडी ला के देख लेंगे, या थोड़े दिन बाद देख लेंगे. और भी लोगों को फियर होता है. ओहो, एक तो मैंने आई वाज वर्किंग विद समवन एग्ज़ाम टाइम में, और अच्छा खासा 2-3 हफ्ते पहले एग्ज़ाम से बाहर का खाना बंद. क्यों? जॉन्डिस हो जाएगा, टाइफाइड हो जाएगा, गला ख़राब हो जाएगा, बीमार हो जाएंगे, फिर एग्ज़ाम के लिए कैसे पढ़ेंगे. तो जब आपने अपने आप को जेल में डाल दिया, इतनी बड़ी जेल में, यू विल फील वेरी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, वेरी स्ट्रेस्ड आउट, वेरी स्केयर्ड. सो डोंट पुट योर सेल्फ इन योर जेल. Just leave yourself to be free. It is very important, to remember that we perform our best when we are free and happy. So don't ever snatch away that freedom and happiness from yourself. Give yourself this basic thing, that all living beings need. They all need freedom and happiness to survive. Exam time should be no excuse for you or for someone else close to you to snatch away these two very important things from you.
Then how do we stop feeling guilty about it? Most of the times when I was giving exams,
Guilty आप इसलिए हो because you have a conditioning that this is not to be done in exams. So fight with that conditioning. Ask yourself that if I'm managing my time well, if I'm studying also, I'm studying well, why should I deprive myself of all these luxuries? So see, एक बहुत बड़ी बात होती है ना, हमें गिल्ट से भी इतना डर लगता है. whenever we are feeling guilty of something, we don't do it. That's not the way. You need to logically question your guilt. Why am I feeling guilty? Most often you will realize that guilt comes from your superego, certain conditioning that you have imbibed, and this conditioning does not have a truth in it. It's just handed down to you from someone, in some other context. So होता क्या है ना, कि when you were small and when you were not responsible, when you were a kid, then you were repeatedly told एग्जाम टाइम में मूवी नहीं देखनी होती, एग्जाम टाइम में गोलगप्पे नहीं खाने होते, गला खराब हो जाता है, एग्जाम टाइम में फ्रेंड से बात नहीं करनी होती. The thing is that now you have grown bigger and you have become responsible. You know that how to manage your time and study well, but that, those ghost voices, they are still here in your head. So they don't stand true today, and there's no need to follow them today. So as long as you are working responsibly, you can enjoy all that. And if guilt comes up, you tell yourself that no, why should I do that? That's just something that I've imbibed in myself, which is not true, and I need to just throw that out from my system. So this is very important, to strike a balance between studies and regular life. If we, as I'm again saying, that if we treat something as if we treat something as abnormal, we encourage aberration. Therefore exam time should be treated as a normal part of life and not as an abnormal thing. There's a question from Nupur. She asks, I'm very futuristic. I analyze hell a lot. It adds tension. How to decrease these infinites analytical thought? Nupur, there's only one way to it. First of all, remind yourself whenever you are doing it that there is not much use of it, and therefore I would be better off not doing it. Secondly, whenever you recognize that your mind has gone into this kind of mode, just give your mind this instruction that alright, I know this is not useful, come back. And more often you will do this repeatedly, this pattern will kind of go down. The third thing that you can do is, वी आर वेरी फ्यूचरिस्टिक. हम फ्यूचर का बहुत ज़्यादा तभी ख्वाब लेते हैं फ्यूचर के जब हम अपने प्रेजेंट में दुखी हैं या खुश नहीं हैं. तो जो लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा फ्यूचर की फैंटेसीज में लॉस्ट होते हैं एंड दे फाइंड इट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर देम. अब ये भी हो सकता है कि आप फ्यूचर की फैंटेसी में लॉस्ट हो और आपके लिए कोई वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं, आप खुश हो, भी ठीक है, आई एम ड्रीमिंग समथिंग गुड, क्या हर्ज है उसमें. बट इफ़ यू फील दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर यू, then try to improve your present life and make it more happy and joyful. That will really help you. Yes, so this, as I was saying, is very, very important, that not having a sound study plan is a major cause for examination anxiety. Make a study plan where you divide the entire syllabus by the number of days. Have a plan for each day that is both challenging. भाई इतना इजी भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि जल्दी से अचीव हो जाए, बट जो रियलिस्टिक भी हो, रियलिस्टिक होना चाहिए कि, एंड एलोकेटिंग मोर टाइम टू डिफिकल्ट टॉपिक्स एंड वीक एरियाज कुछ. अब कई लोग ना बड़े परफेक्शनिज्म में पढ़ते हैं, उनका एक पढ़ने का स्टाइल होता है कि वो ऐसे ही पढ़ेंगे कि अगर वो एक चीज़ को जैसे रीड भी करते हैं राइट भी करते हैं तो हर एक चीज़ को रीड भी करेंगे राइट भी करेंगे. आप ये वाला जो स्टाइल्स है ना, जो भी आपके फिक्स स्टाइल्स है, रिजिडिटी कहीं भी अच्छी नहीं होती. आप बेस्ट जज बनो कि कौन सा टॉपिक किस तरह से होगा या किस चीज़ को कितना टाइम चाहिए. अब आपका कोई फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट है, से नाउ साइंस में भी योर फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट, सो यू मे डू रियली वेल जस्ट टू रीड इट लाइक अ नॉवल, बट पॉल साइंस एंड ज्योग्राफी may be very tough for you, so you may need to spend more time on them and do them in a very difficult manner. One major cause of examination anxiety, if you don't do this thing, if you don't make a plan and manage your time, sooner or later you will feel panicky. Very logically, because what happens is कि time तो हर रोज it becomes shorter and shorter and squeezes. Course उतना ही है, या कई बार increase भी हो जाता है. So time management is very important. This is important, and to also, because you are listening to me today, so before exam time and during exam time there's a flood of expert advice on how to sit, eat, sleep, relax, study, what to eat, what not to eat. कई लोग बड़ी अच्छी और भी recommendations देते हैं कि जंक फूड खाओ मत, ये खाओ, डाइट भी ऐसी होनी चाहिए. And what happens is, because we are already anxious, we hear all this and we follow it very obsessively. But this causes at times a huge blunder, because everyone is different and what works for someone may backfire for another person. Iska, I remember a very live example from my own childhood days. I had this tendency, and I still have this tendency. Ab to khair, I don't give any exam, thankfully. I'm very happy. I don't give any exams. But till the last exam I gave, I would do really very well to study one night before exam, but not to study, in the morning before the exam. कि भाई बिल्कुल जो एग्जाम वाला दिन है उस दिन कोई पढ़ाई मतलब मुझे ये होता था कि उस दिन कोई भी पढ़ाई करूँ तो आई वुड फील वेरी स्ट्रेस्ड आउट, आई वुड नॉट स्टडी एट ऑल. बट देन यू हैव टू डू योर रिविजन. तो आई यूज्ड टू वेक अप द होल नाइट and it was easy for me to wake up, and I used to kind of study like that. So once my friend asked me that you scored well, so what do you do? I said what will I do? My friend tried to follow that, and now for him sleep was very important. So what happened is, he had a vomiting in the exam hall and he fainted. So this is something very important, that whenever you hear any expert, me or anyone else in the world, or any topper also, hear it, but think about it and then apply it. It may not work for you. That's very important. कोई आपको आके कहे कि तुम म्यूजिक सुनते सुनते बड़ी अच्छी पढ़ाई होती है, मेरे को अगर कोई आसपास भी थोड़ा सा भी म्यूजिक लगा हो दूसरे रूम में भी, आई गेट रियली jarred, you know, I get out and tell people to shut down the music. Even today, if I am reading any book also, if I want to really understand what is there in the book, I have to go out and tell the people, please lower down the volume, you know, because it is very jarring. And there are some people who study so beautifully with the headphones on, you know, so you should not apply, मतलब यहाँ पे इन चीज़ों में कट कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं करना चाहिए कभी भी, that's not. So always hear others, understand them, but try and understand, do small experiments always, and then find out what works best for you. Apply that will really help you out. Yes, जैसे हमने नेगेटिव इमोशंस की भी बात कही थी, तो एंग्जाइटीज़ की भी ये बात है that accept your anxieties. Often people find anxiety so uncomfortable, and we talked about this, you know, my friend pointed this out, you know, very early in the talk, that people find कि किस चीज़ से एंग्शियस है उसका तो डर नहीं है, पर अब एंग्जाइटी होने का डर है कि एंग्जाइटी हो गई है. दैट इज़ द मेजर कंसर्न, एंड पीपल रियली ईदर ट्राई टू सप्रेस इट और रन अवे फ्रॉम इट. एंड सी, दिस इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग अबाउट अ माइंड, कि अगर कोई भी चीज़ बहुत फोर्स से आ रही है, यू नो, if you try to stop it or run away from it, you are just creating unnecessary conflict and pressure in your mind, you know. तो अगर कोई भी चीज़ force से आ रही है, you know, तो it is very important that you just let it come, you know. कई बार ये भी होता है, बहुत anxiety है ना, rather than simply telling yourself ओहो क्या करूँ, नहीं आनी चाहिए, just sit for 15-20 minutes and tell yourself, all right, जितनी anxiety है आए, जो जो भी गंदी से गंदी thought है आनी है आए, I'll bear it. एंड डू दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट. आप टिपिकली ऐसा होगा, आपकी एंग्जाइटी बढ़ेगी 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 बढ़ेगी, एक पॉइंट के बाद ऑटोमेटिकली ड्रॉप आउट हो. इसका बहुत लॉजिकल रीज़न है, बिकॉज सी ऑल आर इमोशंस, दे यू नो व्हेनेवर एनी इमोशन इज स्टर्ड अप इन आवर माइंड, इट वांट्स टू फ्लो. सो इफ यू जस्ट अलाउ इट टू फ्लो, it will go away. If you resist that flow, that creates a lot of problems. So do this experiment. कभी अगर ऐसा लगे ना बिल्कुल जो पैनिक वाला होता है कि बिल्कुल पैनिक और बहुत एंग्जाइटी हो गई, सब छोड़ दो, बुक भी छोड़ दो. टेल योरसेल्फ, ऑल राइट, यू नो, आई विल बी एंग्शियस फॉर सम टाइम, लेट मी बी एंग्शियस फॉर सम टाइम, एंड देन यू सी दैट एंग्जाइटी विल वैनिश. The more we are able to find our anxiety less intimidating, और हमने anxiety management में basically करना ही होता है that we need to find it less intimidating, the easier it becomes to overcome. Don't catastrophize. Very, 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 very important. You know, I'll explain what catastrophizing is. See, catastrophizing is a thinking process. It is a style of thinking that inflames anxiety. बिल्कुल जैसे यू नो आप ये सोचो कि एंग्जाइटी इन माइंड इज जस्ट लाइक बहुत सारा फ्यूल पड़ा है, एंड कैटास्ट्रोफाइजिंग इज दैट मैच स्टिक. यू बर्न इट एंड यू थ्रो इट एंड एवरीथिंग जस्ट फ्लेयर्स अप. यू नो what happens is that a person who catastrophizes, he or she, क्या होता है, अब हर सिचुएशन के नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स भी होते हैं, कुछ पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट्स भी होते हैं. But when we catastrophize, we just think about the worst case scenario. We don't think about all possible scenarios. Now, जैसे कि one very common example is that people, you know, I remember this one person reported कि बहुत anxiety हो रही है. Said why? आई फियर कि मेरी पढ़ाई तो बहुत अच्छी हो गई है, एग्ज़ाम भी बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा, बट ये मुझे रह रह के ख्याल आ रहा है कि उस दिन सुबह बहुत ट्रैफिक जैम हो जाएगा, मुझे थोड़ी दूर से आना है और ट्रैफिक जैम में आई विल गेट कॉट एंड यू नो आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू रीच द सेंटर ऑन टाइम. Ask that person, I said, कि have you traveled to that place from your home, you know, yes, quite a few times. I said, how many times have you encountered a traffic jam? Once in multiple times. Then why is it that you are just thinking about that worst case scenario and allowing it to make you unnecessarily anxious? that's what it is about, that we, आप इस बात का ध्यान देना, whenever we are anxious we just think about the worst, you know, and we are so convinced, we hold that thought, again we embrace that thought कि जो भी worst possible है, we tell come, you know, I'll just hold you in my mind very strongly. It's like this, that the mind, and this typical catastrophism, mind plays the negative as if game. अच्छा ये खराब होगा तो ये हो जाएगा, तो ये हो जाएगा, तो ये हो जाएगा, तो ऐसा होगा, तो ऐसा होगा, तो ये हो जाएगा, फिर यू नो जो सबसे वर्स्ट टू वर्स्ट पॉसिबिलिटी है वहाँ पे आके धम, यू नो. Like one more example, I remember that someone, again a very common complaint, that you know, जैसे मेरा तो out of will होता था that I used to not sleep one night before exam, but there are some people who cannot sleep one night before exam because they are very anxious, you know. So उनके माइंड में क्या एंग्जाइटी होती है, वर्स्ट के सिनेरियो, मुझे एग्जाम हॉल में नींद आ जाएगी बुरी तरह से. तो दैट्स अ वेरी वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो, यू नो, कि यू नो आप इतना इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जाम देने जा रहे हो, अगर आपको नींद एक रात आप नहीं भी सोए, and you are a young person, you are not like 85 years old, and God's sake you don't take sleeping pills, so why the hell will you sleep in the examination hall? That's a very worst case scenario. ये अगर मान लो थोड़ी सी थकान है, थोड़ी सी झपकी हो भी गई, तो एकदम से you know you drink water, you tell yourself कि नहीं नहीं बैठो एग्जाम दो. So but people think of worst case scenario. रात को नींद नहीं आएगी, एग्जाम में नींद आएगी, रात को नींद नहीं आएगी, एग्जाम में नींद आएगी, you know, तो जो minute possibility, distant possibility, उसको you know you kind of embrace it. कई बार ऐसे होते हैं ना that you party whole night and then in the morning you drive the car and then you go and have breakfast out somewhere and then you also do something in the day. You don't sleep then, you know. So why is it that you sleep in your exam hall? You won't sleep in your exam hall. So that's very important. So if you have this tendency, then first corrective step is to become self-aware that I catastrophize. Tell yourself, जब भी anxiety हो, I am catastrophizing. The moment you tell yourself this thing, one part of you will understand that you are just doing it, you are playing it too much in your mind. It's not so much. Then start recording your thoughts, related feelings to those thoughts, and after each event, also write what happened. You know, make a sort of a workbook or a diary for this thing. मतलब मैं सिर्फ exam की बात नहीं कर रहा. In your entire life, you know, do this thing. And with such repeated attempts, you will have a lot of data and you will understand that most of the time situation is not so bad. It's me who thinks it is very bad. And then based on this, gently remind yourself each time, tell yourself that look boss, I am catastrophizing. The situation will be a lot more hopeful than what I think it will be. That's what you need to tell yourself. I've repeated this slide, interestingly. Okay, coming to the last section about diet and exercise, which we all already know, and you had mentioned it in the beginning, but I'm going to give you some scientific information on that. But when I'm mentioning diet, please, I don't mean ki go completely off junk food, burgers, golgappa, have them. I'm not saying don't have them, so don't take it wrong, okay? But जो अच्छा डाइट और एक्सरसाइज के साथ ना हम सबका बहुत लव हेट रिलेशनशिप है, यू नो, इन द सेंस दैट इफ समवन टेल्स अस दैट इट विल हेल्प यू फोकस बेटर, वी बिलीव इट बट वी डिसबिलीव ऑल्सो, एंड वी से दैट इट इज फोकस तो यहाँ से होता है, डाइट इज हेयर, टेस्ट बड्स आर हेयर, हाउ इज दिस होल साइकिल रिलेटेड, दिस शुड नॉट बी रिलेटेड, क्यों रिलेट हो? But if you feel, take an example of alcohol or any recreational drug that people take. There is a logic. What we put here has certain biochemical impact. In fact, all foods have certain biochemical impacts on our body, and that's how diet is important. And ये अब मैं नहीं कह रहा, इसलिए मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, पूरी टॉक में कहीं नहीं लिखा था, यहाँ लिख रहा हूँ कि several research studies to say कि look, this is not me, but this is what science says, have found what we call lactic acid. So when you exercise also a lot, there's a build-up of lactic acid in your body, which causes stress, pain, and anxiety. So several research studies have found increased lactic acid in people suffering from stress, anxiety, and panic. They also found that by following a diet that aims to reduce lactic acid, is a marked reduction in stress and anxiety symptoms. So this is something worth trying, because if research studies have found it, भाई अगर हम ऐसा अपना थोड़ा डाइट को कुछ ऐसा सा ट्वीक कर लें कि हमें एंजाइटी थोड़ी कम हो, तो इट्स अ गुड थिंग, नो, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग विद इट. So these are the things that you need to eliminate: alcohol, drugs, caffeine, sugar. You know? अब पहली दो तो थोड़ी ठीक लगती हैं, लास्ट की दो तो बड़ी मुश्किल है, क्योंकि पैराडॉक्सिकली हमें तो ये लगता है कि कॉफ़ी पीते हैं तो अलर्ट रहते हैं, है ना. बट सी, अलर्ट का ये है कि कॉफ़ी, आई एम नॉट सेइंग no to 2 cups of tea a day, or 1 cup of coffee a day. There's nothing wrong in it. But if you, the thing is, देखो कि एक ही बात है कि अगर आप already, if you take 3 cups of coffee throughout, you have been taking it, then it's fine, then don't change it. But if just in case of exams you are taking more coffee to stay up, or to focus better, that's wrong. Don't do that, because uska ye repercussion hoga that you will suffer from increased anxiety in your system. Similarly with sugar, and in general also, to keep your anxiety level down, it is good to try and limit to caffeine and sugar as minimum as possible in your life. I'm not saying that go off them, because some of it is good for your system also, but जैसे कई लोगों को habit होती है ना. Have you seen someone like that, or does someone here take 3 cups of sugar? No, sorry, 3 cups of sugar नहीं, what a slip of tongue, but it actually tastes like that, है ना. 3 spoons of sugar in 1 cup of tea, or a sugar shot coffee, sort of a thing. So those things are kind of bad. Drugs also, please, if anyone comes and tells you this drug or medicine will help you focus or learn better, don't take it. It will have a positive side, it will have a negative side also, so don't take it. Try your best to be as free of any prescription or non-prescription drug during exams. But if you feel कि भाई अब कि वो लेनी ही पड़ रही है, कोई ऐसी आपको प्रॉब्लम है या इलनेस है, then that's a very different thing. Yes, so one of the most powerful methods, as a friend here had mentioned, to reduce stress and anxiety is to learn to breathe deeply and calmly with the diaphragm. So there are many different kind of pranayams and breathing exercises. You can do any of them, but the key in that is it's very important. Learn to breathe deeply from the diaphragm and very calmly. I'm stressing CALMLY. Why I'm stressing this thing? If you go to any morning park, these days, so you will find people like this. This is like horrifying if you have anxiety. If you चाहे आप कोई भी एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, if you are taking in your breath with force, you will not be relaxed. So if you are doing pranayams or any exercise also, learn to do it relaxed and calmly and deeply. Imagine that you are, there's a very beautiful scented flower in front of you and you are smelling it. So just take that as an example. Breathing भी जो है, breathing exercise, like this basic breathing exercise, it has to be done very, very calmly. So like, you could just keep one or both hands on your belly in the beginning to know that, that you are breathing deeply, and very calmly just go like this. Breathe in and breathe out very calmly. If you want to do this favorite yogic exercise also, this also has to be like very calm, like this. Hold, exhale. So deep breaths, long breaths, but calm breaths. That's very important. Exercise is very helpful. Jogging, running, swimming, gym, yoga, Pilates, Taekwondo, anything. Okay? And but please focus here. Regular, moderate exercise. Not mild, not severe, moderate. Something that your body finds challenging, but that your body can do without wear and tear. You know? So that is effective stress reduction technique. You know? So if you have to run a marathon, please don't schedule it near your exam time. You know, because then you will be really wearing down your body unnecessarily. Now, regular exercise is also important, and regular, mind you, does not mean every day, because there are some people who suffer from some conditions. So for them, like exercising 3 times a week is good, but then those 3 times should be regular. So you should be exercising on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, and moderate also. So itna bhi nahi that you are just walking for 10 minutes and you are considering it exercise. It's just warm up, you know, but itna bhi nahi that you are just, you know, kind of running your, you know, all breath out. That's also not there. So with regular exercise, the body becomes stronger and functions more efficiently and has a very great endurance. Yes, the last thing is the practice of meditation. Now you can learn some technique from somewhere and do it, or you can, you know, think of your own method. It has been shown to lessen anxiety, but very important word of caution over here, that don't expect meditation to give you a quick and a fast result. You know, many people come and say कि तो 2 हफ्ते हो गए meditation करते हुए, anxiety तो बढ़ती जा रही है. Do meditation just for the sake of doing meditation. Don't expect anxiety relief out of it. If anxiety relief has to come, it will come automatically. So that's how it is basically. So any questions, any comments, you know, we can now take up any questions that you have. Feel free. Or anything anyone would like to share or add.
How to motivate ourselves to exercise?
So how much do you exercise and what is your plan? What have you been doing about it? You have to see for इतना एक ये बहुत बड़ी वो होती है myth कि आप किसी भी psychologist को ना simple question answer वाली बात नहीं होती. You have to give some of your history and where you are stuck and what do you do with exercise. Then I'll be able to guide you better.
But after a few days, it won't lose.
So tell me that what form did you try, for how long, and कहाँ problem आती है? Tell me that also.
That's where we started that Vedic exercises. I tried for I think 10-12 days. Then after that I thought that I'm wasting my time. I should study or do another work. It was my perception.
So see, that's very simple. If you are conflicted about anything, exercise, then you will not be able to follow it. But do you think that thought is logical, that you waste your time? That's not. So the thing is, start exercising again, and
I think sir that my primary ambition is to qualify the exam. I find it to on the secondary side.
point number 6, exams are not from another planet. And point number 9, diet and exercise are very important, right? So in light of this, see, you will have to fight with your mindset. Start exercising. Sooner or later, in 1 day or 2 or 3 days, you will again feel that you know, this is you know, like I'm wasting my time. At that time, tell yourself, no, I know this will help me focus better. This will help me take care of my stress. This will help lighten me, and as a result, मेरी पढ़ाई अच्छी होगी. So even if I'm devoting some minutes to it, that's okay.
Sir, laughing is also good.
Yes.
What about that?
But only laughing per day is not good exercise. I would say laughing is good exercise. Only laughing is not good. See, if you just laugh for 5 minutes, laughter yoga, and you say कि exercise हो गई, that's cheating. That's not exercise. Right. Any other question?
Sir,
first you, then I'll come to you. Yeah. You please go ahead. Yeah.
3 days are left almost, and I feel that most of the syllabus is still uncovered, and some topics even I have not touched.
Okay.
And I feel I won't be able to clear the exam. So obviously anxiety and stress is putting in.
Right.
So what should I do now?
देखो सबसे पहले तो I will not be able to clear my exam. You just tell yourself that this is just an internal anxiety. It has no implication on external reality. कि exam clear होगा या नहीं होगा. It does not depend on how you think about it. Okay. So just tell yourself that this thought is illogical. Then what you need to do is you have 15 days left and you have an idea of how much you need to do. Allocate time. Allocate number of things per day. आज ये सब आज के दिन में these topics have to be covered, then these topics have to be covered, and break your study style. Break your study style in the sense that make sure that you cover these things on that day. Whether you simply read them, whether you simply read the headlines, whether you just read the main points, whatever. But tell yourself, I don't have any more time for this topic beyond this day. It has to be completed today, and it has to be completed in the amount of time I want to allocate to it. Just that. Okay. Yes.
As walking is my hobby, and one of the stress relieving methods that I use is I wanted to know that I'm habitual of doing walking in only evening. Should I force myself for morning walk as you said it has
No. See, if you like walking in evenings, do that. Morning का मैंने इसलिए कहा था that fresh air is important, so you can simply just open your window, sit in your balcony in the morning, do something like that.
suggest me कि I should go for morning walk, but I can never.
एक point था ना कि whatever any expert says, do what you ultimately feel is good for you. So you are saying that evening walks are good for you. Do them. Yeah. All right. So should we then stop here for today? Yeah. Okay. One more question. Sorry. Yeah.
See, actually, I never used to stress over the exams during school time. I used to study during the class lectures only, and I never revised or something. I used to give exams and used to score well. Never topped actually, but used to score well. But during the college, I didn't attend many lectures. I was not habitual to it then, and as you said, the last night studies that had really affected me because exams इतने अच्छे नहीं होते हैं उसके बाद से. And last semester too, I would say that I used to forget everything while writing the exam. And I used to cry every morning before the exam that I would forget everything. And that actually used to happen with me. And the last semester it went fast.
Okay. So you're saying that this last night studying is not good for you. That's what you've
Sir, but
figured
the
out.
thing is that I feel I have forgot how I should study. I don't even know how to study. Means I used to study very well earlier, and it's getting tough for me now.
Could you elaborate on that when you say that how I don't know how to study means
Because the last night study is not meant for me.
it is not meant for you. So that you don't do then, that you don't do. And what you can do is that you can just try and what you can try doing is that you can finish your entire revision one day prior, sleep in the night, and then maybe for like say very little time in the morning look at all the main topic and the subtopic, just that, something of that sort. Or even if you were not to do that, you could straight away
So revision
Nahi.
makes me anxious.
then just revise on the last day, sleep, and morning straight go and give the exam. Trust yourself. See, जो हमें ये लगता है ना हम चीज़ें भूल जाएंगे, that's more of our psychological anxiety. Our mind does not forget things so easily and so quickly. If you are calm at that place, your mind will remember most of the things. Don't worry about that. Okay. Okay then, let's stop here today. Okay. Okay.